Hello, everybody. Welcome in. My name is Wax Philosophical, and I like to wax the philosophical. And today is Friday, the 8th of August, 2026. And today we're having a pretty good day today. It was actually pretty nice. I was worried, like, my computer's been like super stupid lately with my camera, and it's been like, for some reason, not working. But today it was fine. Fantastic. I'm so excited. I hope that it's not going to be a problem in the future, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, anyways, we're gonna have a bit of a chill day today because it is honestly so freaking hot today. And there's not, oh no, did it not update my title? Oh, boo, boo worms. Oh, no, it did. Okay, sweet, perfect. Had to check that. Sorry, I just had a moment of panic. But anyways, we're gonna have a chill day today. We're gonna do just like two news-ish stories. One is a news story, and then one is like from one of my favorite content creators about something that's relevant to my life, which I will go over because I had a little bit of drama yesterday, and so yeah, hopefully that is the end of that, but we will see. And then we're gonna do some Elden Lording. I have been exploring the realms of Elden Ring like crazy. I still suck at the game. I still suck majorly at the game, but that's okay. We're making progress. So without further ado, we're just gonna hop right into. Actually, first before that, I'm gonna plug movie night. If you decide you don't want to stick around for the rest of the stream, we're gonna have movie night this Sunday at 7 p.m. The movie will start at 7:30 p.m. and we'll be watching the movie called Children of Men. It's about a mass extinction, a mass human extinction event. And so it's one of my all-time favorite movies. Absolutely fantastic. If you've never seen it before, I highly suggest tuning in. Otherwise, maybe see you some other time. But for now, we're gonna get right on into it. Oh, whoops. Infinite Me's? Is it gonna do Infinite Me's? It is. Let's see. Okay, there we go. We're actually gonna be talking about Max Miller. And if you're unfamiliar with who Max Miller is, he is a now extremely controversial U.S. Senate representative for the Republican Party. And it's recently come out that he is so abusive that somehow even his own party members are calling for him to step down. But we're going to go over a little bit of his history right now.
All right, folks, I want y'all to walk with me on this one because this is a serious conversation we're about to have. Tonight, Mother Jones has published video from inside a police investigation involving Ohio Republican Congressman Max Miller. For weeks now, Miller has been adamantly denying allegations from his ex-wife, Emily, the daughter of Ohio Republican Senator Bernie Moreno, allegations that Miller was physically abusive to her and to their 2-year-old daughter. The video Mother Jones obtained and published today is body camera and
I'm pretty sure that the abuse allegations in regards to his 2-year-old daughter also include him breaking his 2-year-old daughter's collarbone, amongst other things. So also, I should have given you a trigger warning. Trigger warning if you are, this is a sensitive topic, so if you need to check out, I completely understand. But yeah, pretty bad stuff.
Footage from a child abuse investigation. They obtained the footage via public records request from the city of Bay Village,
how they even found out
the
about
investigation took place. The footage shows detectives questioning Miller and his ex-wife, Emily Moreno, about their 2-year-old daughter's broken collarbone earlier this year. Watch this clip.
Unless it was like a complete and utter accident, like, I couldn't imagine being a poor, like, 2 years old. Like, you obviously don't have that great a memory and stuff like that, but still 2 years old and you got a broken collarbone? Dude, that sucks. Poor kid.
Which a child protective specialist describes the injury itself.
So the injury itself is common in ambulatory children, but there is a bruise that accompanies the injury that appears to be in a handprint, so it appears that it was inflicted. She was with Dad at the time that the injury was sustained.
I didn't know that.
In the video,
I didn't know that there was like a handprint apparently on her, and it seemed like it was somebody who inflicted it, and because she was with her dad at the time, that's why they're making the allegation.
You can hear Miller appear to downplay his daughter's injury.
If you look up, and I think we discussed this as well, a broken clavicle or collarbone in a toddler, very, very common, actually extremely common. Anytime something's wrong with my daughter, I'm an abuser. And it's just like this thing that people want to paint about me for whatever reason.
Police ultimately concluded that a finding of child abuse was unsubstantiated, meaning there was no sufficient evidence to prove that that abuse or neglect had occurred. And Congressman Miller has denied.
So that doesn't mean that abuse didn't occur. It just means that there wasn't enough evidence to prove it in court. I think that that's something that people tend to overlook sometimes, is like, just because you can't prove something in court doesn't mean that it didn't necessarily happen.
He hurt his daughter in any way, pointing to the fact that the police dropped the investigation as proof of his innocence. The video released by Mother Jones today also
he wasn't proven innocent, he also just wasn't proven
Emily
guilty,
Moreno,
right? That's
making various serious allegations against Miller.
So nothing you can point to directly that you've seen him abuse your daughter?
No, but my daughter will say stuff.
Like?
Daddy angry. She always says Daddy's angry, or Daddy's house is scary. I was just scared of him a lot, and that's why I left the house. There was a few times when I would have to change the diaper and he'd have his gun on me.
What?
Miller has adamantly denied it all, saying that his ex-wife suffers from mental health issues and made it all up.
Oh my
Yesterday,
God.
the House.
That's a common claim by abusers, is to make the oh, well, they're just quote unquote crazy claim, right? It's a very quick and easy way to be dismissive of somebody. But if you were in an abusive situation, is it really unheard of or unexpected that you might develop some sort of mental health struggles or mental health difficulties? When you actually think about it. So for me, that that has been a long used shield of abusers, and for a long time police would just look at that and be immediately dismiss a person out of hand if they had mental health issues. It's still a prevalent thing where people think, oh, this person's just crazy, and then they dismiss it out of hand and don't pay attention to it any further. Thankfully, things have gotten a little bit better, but realistically, it's still used by abusers like this to try to dismiss allegations without any sort of actual proof that they weren't a bad person or that the other person was actually driven by their mental illness. It was just you're immediately discredited if you have any sort of mental illness. And you notice how it doesn't even matter what kind of mental illness the person has. It is literally just a blanket statement. For all we know, this person could have just basic level depression, because depression is a form of mental illness, right? Depression is it is an illness that you can develop, right? And so, like, that doesn't necessarily mean that if somebody has a depression or maybe they have like schizophrenia or something like that, that they're going to make up like allegations of abuse and things of that nature. Absolutely ridiculous. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people do that.
Ethics Committee announced that they are going to open an investigation into Representative Miller. But that investigation will likely take months. And according to Ohio state law, Republicans are facing a Monday deadline to replace Miller on the ticket. So where do things go from here? Joining me now is national politics reporter for Mother Jones, Abby Vasulis, who has done incredible reporting on this story, and host of the Bulwark podcast, Tim Miller. Welcome to you both. Abby, let's just get to the work and the reporting that you have done, which not just on this moment, you have done some extensive reporting on this story involving Mr. Miller and his family about all of these allegations and that have been made over the years. He has denied all of those allegations. Help us understand the bigger picture here. What can you tell us about those other allegations? Connect some dots for us if you can.
Yeah, so going through thousands of pages of court filings and police reports, you know, dating back 10 plus years, but also many from very recent months, suggested that there is a pattern of allegations against Congressman Miller, that he has allegedly hurt not just one woman, Emily Marino, his ex-wife, but possibly others. Stephanie Grisham, one of them, she wrote a book, and there was an explosive excerpt in the Post a couple years ago saying that she told the Trumps that she was abused by Miller and that they didn't do anything about it. So,
I mean, who would be surprised by that? By the Trumps not doing anything about abuse allegations? I mean, look at Donald Trump himself. He is one of the most prolific, well-known abusers out there worldwide. I wouldn't be surprised if abuse does not run rampant through that family.
I, just going through this paper trail, saw many accusations of violence that Miller allegedly had done throughout the years, such as holding a gun to Emily Marino's head and shoving her against a wall and throwing boiling water at her. And of course, Congressman Miller denies all of these claims. But it's striking to me that there are multiple different women who have, you know, been affected by Miller. And the woman who I spoke to, who was allegedly pushed down the stairs in high school, she told me it was one of the most traumatic nights of her life. And Politico reported a couple years ago that there were at least 3 witnesses to that event. So it's difficult for me to understand how so many different people could be lying
about similar incidents.
Right.
And Tim, that's the part that I find the most stunning, is just the knee-jerk reflexive response from Republican leadership, Trump, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, and this need to stand by the guy in the face of the allegation, to cast aspersions in some instances on the victims or the women who are involved in these things. And even now, you have Senator Moreno, the father of Mr. Moreno's his wife, coming out and saying, "Hey, you know, this is not the thing. This is not what we should be doing." And you need to step down and stop this pursuit for office. What's your thought here? How do you think about this idea of just protecting these, reflexively protecting these individuals when these stories break?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, there are a lot of examples of this outside of politics and Me Too, et cetera. So this is not only on Trump, but a lot of this is Trump. Look, this does go back to 2016 and the Access Hollywood tape, where he's caught on tape bragging about sexually assaulting women. And a lot of Republican politicians speak out against him. And then he doesn't do anything, stays in the race. They all come back on board. He wins. they all end up being rewarded politically for it. And after that, it doesn't seem like there's been any appetite in the Republican Party for holding anyone accountable for any type of action, no matter how heinous, particularly regarding domestic violence or sexual assault against women. And so in this case, it's even kind of worse than not calling for him to step aside or not having a groundswell to push out. I mean, Trump last night on the tarmac said he feels bad for Max Miller. Like he said, I feel bad for him, which is a weird thing for Trump to say. Trump doesn't ever show empathy for anyone. And in this case, he's not.
I don't know if Trump was actually showing genuine empathy for Max Miller. I think if anything, he probably sees himself in Max Miller, and he was feeling bad for himself because Trump himself has experienced a lot of accusations, including ones that have been substantiated at least in civil court in regards to abuse and different types of violence. So I don't think that he had any real true empathy for Max Miller. I think he was just seeing a part of himself in Max Miller and felt bad for that aspect of himself that he saw in Max Miller.
Showing empathy for Emily Moreno, a Republican senator's daughter, or for their daughter, Max Miller and Emily's daughter, who's I guess was allegedly also a victim of Max Miller's abuse, and Trump's like, I feel bad for Max, and this is what the party is now. They're on the side of the abusers, and so if you're Max Miller, it seems like he's a sociopath. But in addition to that, it is rational to try to stay it out, because that's the model that has been put forth successfully within the Republican Party.
And yet, before we let you go, there is a timeline, there is a process that could come into play to replace Miller. Share some of that.
So Congressman Max Miller would have needed to withdraw his candidacy today in order for there to be a special election to find a new Republican to replace him on the ballot. That didn't happen. So now we're looking towards Monday, August 10th, which is the next and final deadline, in which if he resigns before end of day, then the county Republican officials can appoint a Republican to take his place. And if not, then there's not going to be a Republican on the official ballots if Miller ends up resigning beyond the deadline.
Interesting. Abby Fasoulas, great work, good reporting. Tim Miller, buddy, it's so good to see you. Thanks for being with us tonight. Appreciate you. All
right. There's that portion of it. And then we're going to go on to an interview between Max Miller and Jake Tapper, where he defends himself. And if you've experienced any sort of domestic violence or domestic abuse or any sort of manipulative situation with a partner, you'll probably be able to spot a lot of the techniques and tactics that this man is going to be using throughout the entirety of this interview. They're tried, true, and classic, and once you know what they are, they're very easy to point out. It's not surprising in any sort of way.
Let's start there with your former father-in-law's story today about your daughter.
Sorry, guys. I watch things at two times the speed so I can cover more stuff throughout the day when selecting what to show you guys.
Bunny doll that she cannot sleep without. If it's true, that sounds like emotionally. Congressman, let's start there with your former father-in-law's story today about your daughter and the little blue bunny doll that she cannot sleep without. If it's true, that sounds like emotionally abusive behavior toward a toddler to refuse to give it to her when she can't sleep without it.
So the allegation, and I don't know if they're actually going to cover it in this, but I'm going to go over it right quickly, is that in between the exchange of passing off custody between the mother and Max Miller, the daughter has this little stuffy teddy that she likes to sleep with every single night. And apparently he refused to provide it for her when they were making that exchange so that she could continue sleeping through the night. What his rationale is beyond me. He doesn't really explain it. He just kind of denies it.
Jake, I would agree that if that were true, that would be incredibly disturbing and that the senator would be right. However, He has taken 2 years to publicly acknowledge for me to resign from my seat. Why is that, Jake? If he truly believed, like, I'm a father to a 2.5-year-old daughter, I believe that you're also a father to children. And I don't know if you're actually a father to a daughter. But what I can tell you is...
I want you to make note that he didn't ever say that it wasn't true. He said if that was true, it would be horrible, right? And when you're dealing with manipulators, they will often use like elusive language like that as a workaround from actually just full on saying, because if you didn't do something like that, you would just be like, I never did anything like that. That's absolutely abhorrent and disgusting. But he didn't say, no, I didn't do that. And he does that quite a few times throughout this interview. Like, pay attention to things like that. It's like, did somebody, like when you ask somebody a question, they either say yes or no. And even if it takes them like 2 times to say no, like beyond that, it's questionable, right? Like, but he didn't actually say, no, I didn't do that. He said, if that's true, that's a horrible thing, right?
Well,
so
Jake, then what I can tell you is that if my daughter came to me and she said, my ex-husband did X, Y, and Z, and then I waited because I was nervous that a political live stream was going to expose a deeply impersonal, embarrassing matter to the senator for him to take that action. Sadly,
now
this has nothing to do with
onto the other person,
Jake, and that's what this
as to why it took them so long to come forward, discrediting the accuser.
Being politically vindictive and talking about a blue bunny, when I have text messages I can show you from our parent coordinator, who is a mandatory court reporter, who said that Mr. Moreno would be coming over my home, and then another individual came who I don't know.
Well, first of all, Congressman,
I don't know what any of that is relevant to giving his daughter a blue bunny. He's not saying once that he did indeed give his daughter the blue bunny. He's not providing any evidence. Like, if he had evidence that like that happened, then why would he not just be like, yeah, I totally did. I do that all the time. I would never withhold it from her. Like, he's disgusting.
Congressman, you're faulting him for both not saying anything for 2 years and for saying something in the last 2 days.
Well, that's because, Jake,
it's possible that he didn't say anything because his daughter didn't want him to say anything because he didn't want this to become any more of a spectacle than it's become.
You could say that, but also dealing with this in a private family matter, then why couldn't have we had a conversation a year ago? If Mr. Moreno felt this was...
For all we know, they actually did have a conversation. Abusers have absolutely no problem lying about things like this, right? It's just more like blame shifting, right? We don't actually have an insight to their private relationships and what happened behind the scenes. For all we know, he did talk to him and be like, what the hell are you doing? And now he's just making the accusation. He's not even making the accusation. He's posing a question, right? Like, it's a way to shift responsibility away from himself onto the other person.
If that's the case, why do we now have to be here on national TV exposing all of our personal family drama? Why didn't he come to me and say, Max, I don't believe privately that you should be in the United States Congress and that you need to look for a pathway out, and I do believe my daughter.
I don't know, but it's not really the issue, though, right? The issue is... The one I asked you about is, did you hold this doll hostage? Because that is emotionally abusive behavior.
Mr. Tapper, no. And just to further more than that, there have been 2 investigations that have already been looked into me. And I would like to just have a little bit of moment to explain. The first investigation that was looked into me was that my ex-wife, Emily Moreno, filed a report of child abuse against me. That first incident, 2 individuals were held liable for abusing my daughter at a daycare, which I have a private settlement agreement from. I was found not guilty. They looked at my fingerprints. They made me take off my shirt. They made me look at my body to make sure that I didn't abuse my daughter.
Now it's just like, I'm the victim. I'm the victim here. Look how awful this is. Despite the fact that he's openly admitting that somebody else abused his daughter, his focus is not on his daughter, it's upon what happened to him in relation to having to deal with the fact that his daughter was abused. He is very, very much an internally focused and self-centered person. I don't think that he actually cares about his daughter based upon the ways in which he is expressing himself in this situation. But then again, who's shocked? I mean, he's allegedly have broken her collarbone at the worst, and then other allegations of abuse towards her also.
For child abuse for my daughter for a broken collarbone, my daughter was in my ex-wife's care 9 out of the last 11 days, and she took her to the emergency room, which is a contempt violation from our shared parenting plan. Furthermore than that, Mr. Tapper, is this. These matters have already been looked into. Ms. Moreno has already gone to the police. The police are not investigating it. Ask yourself, why aren't they investigating these things? You see yourself.
Again, more questions, no real answers, just constantly posing questions for other people to answer, never actually providing any real, like, concrete information. Very long and drawn out answers that don't really solidify anything or provide any confidence or credibility to the things he's saying.
Treatment. I have never done these things. These things have already been investigated. Yeah. I have no police reports looked into me, and we actually have evidence, unlike the other side. And so, you know, it's an honor for me to have a platform like this to continue to fight and to continue to show the American people that I've already been looked into. Right. I'm happy to be looked into again.
Is there anything that your ex-wife or your former father-in-law, Senator Moreno, say about you that is true? I mean, Senator Moreno said on Sunday that you have admitted privately that you need to get help.
This is the unfortunate part about this. Only one person between myself and Emily Moreno who's been actually diagnosed.
I have no idea what happened there. What? Oh, it was in the video. That freaked the crap out of me. I had a power outage the other day because unfortunately there was like a major fire just like less than a block away from me. It was crazy. Literally the entire building unfortunately had to be evacuated. The entire top floor is essentially burned out and stuff like that. The power just went out all of a sudden. I was experiencing that again. I was just like, oh God, what happened? But it's all right. Okay, let's keep going.
Person between myself and Emily Moreno who's been actually diagnosed with a medical condition.
But have you ever said
that? And that's not me. Yes, and I have it in her own words. And
but have you said it? Have you ever said that you need to get help? That you need to see a counselor?
No, not to him. No.
No, to anyone. Have you said it to Emily?
Oh, well, Jake, I think a lot of people within this country see a therapist. I've been seeing a therapist over the last decade of my life.
By the way, that's a yes.
I don't know why this would be any more important than anything else. I think it's healthy to talk to somebody and to share what's going on within your life and to work through problems. I don't look at this as a negative thing for someone to seek therapy, to go through something. And
agreed.
Yes, Jake, I've been seeking therapy for the last 10 years of my life.
However, when it comes to abusers, it tends to be like a tool of weaponization to sort of like make you feel like you're crazy and like you need therapy kind of a thing. I don't think that he, in his, like, based upon what I've seen of this person, I don't think that he approached his wife and be like, you know what, I think that it would genuinely be beneficial for our relationship if we both sought counseling, both sought therapy, and both like went to like improve ourselves and work together and yada yada. No, I'm assuming that he probably like weaponized it against her. It's like, oh, you need like just a way to be dismissive, most like you need therapy, you need help, go get help. There's something wrong with you. What are you talking about? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the way that he did that, because he also, again, notice how he never really gives a direct yes or no answer. He didn't say yes. He went into, again, this long diatribe about how good therapy actually is for you and all this other stuff. Like, he's like allergic to just being like yes or no, simple answers, like straight to the point, simple answers, like clear, and then elaborating upon how he feels about a topic. But it never really starts that way unless he's asked repeatedly, like, and confronted repeatedly about a topic.
Your live stream on Twitter or X on Sunday, you said you were doing so to protect your daughter. And you did so, and you also released a Dropbox on X with files involving your family to show that you were a good dad. Now, one of the files was an image of your daughter naked, and it was available in that Dropbox for a day before that photograph was removed. It's an image that your ex-wife's attorney says could qualify as child sexual abuse material. Your attorney has said that he is the one who did that, and he apologizes. But it is shocking.
Why did the attorney even have the photo in the first place?
I wouldn't say that it's shockingly
Why did the attorney have the photo in the first place?
It's actually part of an investigation by the Child and Family Protective Services, and that is already public knowledge that people can go and they can look through court-reported mandates. This is being taken very much out of context. There was no genitalia of my daughter that was exposed, and this is once again...
Okay, it doesn't matter when it comes to children if their genitalia is exposed or not. If they are exposed in any way, that can be used as DSAM. That's why you should always be careful about uploading photos of your children to the internet. Like people, even just for your child's own personal digital footprint that they don't have control of until they start getting access to the internet themselves, like you should be wary of what you upload to the internet, even if you're just doing it to your personal private, like social media accounts and things like that, because you never know who people actually are until they show you. And pedophiles and like perverts and creepos, they do not like make themselves known to you very often, especially if they see you as an easy mark. They do not try to be like, oh yeah, I'm totally going to be using this for my own personal interest when you upload maybe a beach photo of your kid at the beach or something like that. Maybe they're topless or something. Or you have a cute like bath time photo or something like that. And maybe you just see the upper half of them or something, right? Like it doesn't matter whether or not their genitalia is being exposed or not. That's a weird misnomer to try to latch onto as if somehow that makes it permissible. Quite frankly, I have very, very strict feelings about uploading children's photos to the internet, including with like whether or not I'll continue being friends with somebody depending upon what they choose to upload of their kid on the internet. Because in all honesty, if I'm not close enough to you in order to like go to your home and see like a photo album of your your ex for like maybe you went to the park or something with your kid, and maybe you went to the fair or something, like if I'm not close enough to you to go and see like a photo album of you and your kids and stuff like that, then like I honestly, I don't really need to see your kid all that often. Like, I understand you want to share your kid and stuff like that with your friends, and it's super easy to do it that way. But given what the internet is, like, and it's not even like I think that the parents are a bad thing for having this desire and it makes it so much easier to share with a whole bunch of people. But like, if I'm not close enough to you, I genuinely like it's okay. I don't need to see your kid. Like knowing about your kid and reading about what you and your kid did. Oh, we had such an amazing time at the amusement park or something like that. You know, my kid had cotton candy for the first time. It was great. Like I don't need to see photos of your kid, and this is mostly for their protection and their well-being, but that's just my incredibly strict opinion on the situation.
Again, a very salacious headline.
It's not
and Jake,
publicly available. We called the court today. It's not publicly available. But your attorney apologized.
I'm not.
I would hope that photo isn't fucking publicly available.
You just defended it. You said it was taken out of context.
Well, because it is taken out of context in terms of how the articles have been written about it. I didn't do this. My attorney took full responsibility. I believe that it's.
But
awful.
why does the attorney even have the photo in the first place? Like that's what I don't understand. Like how did the attorney even get the photo in the first place? Like it had to be given to him for some reason. I don't know. It's just weird.
There was never any intent to do that. What I did on Sunday, okay, Jake, I went on CNN with Lauren Fox for a 45-minute interview about a month ago.
Right.
And
you ran some of it.
Right. You ran some of it, but only 6 minutes of that interview was played.
That's how TV works.
I know, Jake, but
he's
here's
so
the deal. Okay?
persecuted, chat. He has it so hard.
Very, laced question and said, your ex-father-in-law and your ex-wife say that your daughter is terrified to go to your home. Every single time they say she's terrified. I then played Lauren Fox.
He's pivoting away from the photo, by the way.
Videos, three separate audio videos of my daughter saying, I do not want to go to mommy's, I do not want mommy's, and I do not feel safe. None of that made it out there. Why?
Because it was recorded without her permission, is my understanding of it.
No, it's a one-party consent in the state of Ohio. And this is what I've had to do in order to get my truth out. I mean, you could say this is what the media does. They take a 45-minute interview and they clip it to 6 minutes of what they want the American people to see. That's why I did the live stream to lay everything out, but I'm not hiding.
Congressman, I'm not talking about whether or not it was legal or illegal.
Here's the thing about stuff like that is there is, although it rarely happens, there is potential for a parent to coach their child into saying certain things, right? Like, I don't know. It feels very, very weird to me that you would record your kid saying these things and you would get recordings of your kid specifically saying these things. because the mother's allegations are just her recounting. Like she didn't record her kid saying these things, probably because she didn't think to at the time when her kid was just naturally expressing these things. But it's kind of weird that like he has recording, not to like discredit that her daughter, like the daughter didn't say that, but like it's just a little fishy, especially given all the other allegations against them, which they get worse.
To record your ex-wife, I'm saying that the reason we didn't air it is because it was our understanding that the recording was done without her permission. That's something else. That's discretion. That's journalism. That's not a question of legality. But let's talk about it, because there is a police report from the suspected child abuse incident in February involving your daughter, and that report details that the child protection team says that your child had a right clavicle fracture and, quote, a bruise that accompanies the injury that appears to be in a handprint and appears to have been inflicted, unquote. Now, your ex-wife stated to police that your child told her in the days leading up to the discovery of the injury, quote, "Daddy, kill you." And your ex-wife also said your child had said, "Daddy angry and Daddy's house is scary." Now, according to your wife, your daughter articulated these statements to Children in Faith Services. So can you explain why your child may have said those things?
Jake, I wish you could talk to my beautiful baby girl. She can't string together sentences like that. She's 2.5 years old. She doesn't have the ability to articulate any of what you just said.
Capper actually does a good job.
That is an entire fabrication of the truth. I have actual video, actual documentation.
But didn't you just tell me that
I've been through two investigations.
You just told me that she had said that she was scared to go to mommy's house.
She is, and I have video of it.
But now you're saying that she's not capable of saying, "Daddy, kill you"? I mean, it seems like she's either able to say one but not the other.
Jake,
that doesn't make sense.
Jake.
Yep, 100 fucking %. He just got caught in a major fucking lie, and he's gonna try and play it off. But like, if the daughter has the capability of saying like the things that he's saying that he literally has video evidence of, you're literally gonna tell me that the daughter also doesn't have the capability of repeating words that she heard from her own father, because that is likely how she picked up this information. And my guess is that he was saying it potentially, hopefully not, but I've heard of situations like where like parents will literally tell their children and talk to their children in such malicious ways about how like they're gonna hurt their other parent, or like in a method of getting the kid to be like to control the child also is something that they will do. What they'll do is they'll say, if you don't behave, I'm gonna hurt mommy. I'm gonna like do something awful to mommy if you don't listen to me. Or even in more nefarious situations, if you tell mommy, then I'm going to hurt mommy, right? Like it's a method of control. Or it can just be a method of like manipulation and like just anger and expression, especially paired with the fact that there's allegations that he was physically abusive to his daughter to the point where he broke her potential collarbone. I remember, just because it's not proven in court, which it's very difficult to prove in court, doesn't mean that it wasn't true. But when you string all of these allegations together, it becomes incredibly damning and makes the daughter's the accusations, and especially since she expressed it to what essentially amounts to family court, like intervention. So third party, that her father was saying these things about her mother. It just kind of makes that seem much more plausible and believable, and that's why it makes me think that maybe he coached her into saying those other things, because he knew that he was in a battle with his ex-wife. And abusers, despite the fact that they rarely ever acknowledge and admit that they are abusers, they have no problem like doing any sort of like this behavior, right? Like they're aware of what they're doing, and they will try to sort of like COA, cover their ass kind of a situation. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if he tried to coach the daughter into like having like sort of rebuttal commentary about how it's not me, it's mommy that's scary, even though at the same time clearly he said to or around his daughter that he was going to kill his ex-wife enough times that she picked it up and expressed it freely to other people that weren't her wife. So there's actual witnesses to that situation also.
To be very direct, this is incredibly disturbing. I am not going to my child to say, Daddy, kill you. You have to look at the timing of everything that is taking place.
Maybe he was saying it around her to somebody else on the phone.
And I know that
maybe he was
I've
just
said that
saying it
now 3
out
times,
loud,
and we're kind of just
expressing
blowing
himself or
past this.
something,
But these
blowing
are
off steam.
individuals who do their jobs to protect kids. And the main job of the court and the main job of Child Protective Family Services and the main job of our judge who has been appointed to our divorce case is to make sure that our daughter is safe. And every single one of those individuals has agreed with me. I have full shared parenting. I still have full medical parenting, half. I still have full half education. If any of these things were true, Jake, a judge would have taken our baby girl out of my hands. What
That's
you
not
have
necessarily
is a very
true.
sadly politically
That's not necessarily
motivated
true.
scenario to where, you know, people want to see me go away, and all of this happened, and I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Take it for what you want. Look, this live stream, the impetus for the resignation, okay, came because an individual thought something was going to be said on that live stream that I had no intention of saying, and I still do not have any intention.
But here's the thing: you're talking about a level of standard of proof that has to do with judges, and there is separately a different level when it comes to what kind of behavior is tolerated among public officials, because there are now 3 women.
Because there's like the public court of opinion, and then there is the actual judicial court of opinion. And the public opinion doesn't have to line up with the judicial opinion. That happens all the time. That's essentially what cancel culture is, right? It's the public deciding that although we might not have enough evidence to convict you in court, we can definitely decide to deplatform you publicly. So this whole, this constant, tapping into a higher authority as a method of proving his innocence, you don't have to abide by that type of nonsense when people try to use that as a method of, proving their innocence when they've been accused of something horrible. It's okay to be like, you know what, yeah, maybe this isn't able to be proved in court, but I believe that beyond a doubt personally that you did these things. It's perfectly fine to say that kind of a thing and have that kind of opinion. Although people like him will try to make you seem like you're doing something wrong and your opinion isn't valid enough to be able to hold that kind of water and that kind of weight, even if it's just for yourself, because it serves a purpose for them to denigrate the way that you view your own opinion. It allows them to have more of an authority over your lived reality kind of a thing, which is something that abusers like so much, right? They will try to twist the truth. They'll try to twist reality to fit what best benefits them, and they work on doing that all the time.
3 women who have accused you of violent behavior. Politico published a report in 2021 that says when you were in high school, you, quote, pushed a girl out of the dorm of his room and she fell down some stairs after he became enraged when she resisted his attempts to touch her, according to 3 people who were there and many more who heard about the incident in the aftermath. Now, you deny that, but the woman in question told Mother Jones reporter Abby Vasulis just days ago that it happened and was, quote, one of the more traumatic nights of her life.
Now, I would love for that individual to go on the record because that.
Okay.
Jake, I was
hold on, because I'm not done with the list of women that have accused you of violence. Then there is former White House press secretary.
I was 13 years old. I was just so young. So he essentially admitted to doing this, but then excused it based upon his age. And a lot of people will do this. And for me, I do take into consideration people's age when they commit violent acts towards people. But that doesn't mean that you didn't still commit the violent act against another person. Teenagers and kids, they can still be abusive towards other people, including physically, especially but the thing is the level of accountability and culpability that the person has develops along with them, right? So the older that you are, the better we expect you to know, provided you have the cognitive capability of making those rational kinds of decisions. So at 13 years old, I think that it's reasonable to say, yeah, that's pretty violent. That's pretty inappropriate. That's beyond acceptable behavior to literally push somebody down the stairs because they didn't want you to touch them. that's a little bit step beyond just the normal kind of maybe angry reaction that might get you some forgiveness, that it might be easier to move on from as you get older and you develop more mentally as you get older. But to like full on push somebody down the stairs, I don't know. I don't think that, especially given the most recent allegations that show a proof and pattern of behavior, that this person has not changed. If anything, they might have even escalated. And if not for their public facing job, maybe the situation could have ended up much worse for the most current wife. Like, we don't know. But like, he's showing a pattern of behavior, and it kind of like retroactively means, like, for me, when I'm judging these situations, it's like, okay, retroactively you've shown that you haven't grown at all. Clearly, like, where's the room for forgiveness just supposed to be able to fit in here when you haven't shown any demonstration that you've changed as a person? Like, that was kind of my stance with Graham Plattner, and that was my issue with Graham Plattner when all of the allegations came out against him. Like, Graham Plattner knows how to say all the right things, but he never demonstrated that he actually was capable of doing any of the right things. And as time progressed, it was constantly 1, 2, 3, 4, more and more allegations coming out against him about awful things that he did. And like, same thing with this guy. It's always like more and more and more, because they never seem to grow as people. They never seem to actually get better as people. They just learn how to be better at talking. Right?
Okay, you were young. Then there's a former White House press secretary, Stephanie Grisham, who was your ex-girlfriend. She accused you of being abusive and having a violence. She wrote in her book, quote, "I could do nothing right by him. I would wake up every morning shaking with anxiety about his mood that day. I had seen his temper before and it had scared me," unquote. She has recently filed a temporary restraining order against you in a defamation case. And now there are these claims from your ex-wife, Emily Marino. And I guess the question is, are all three of these women who don't know each other, are all three of them lying?
Yes, it's very easy, and I can tell you why. Every single time,
all of them are politically motivated. All of them.
What are you going to do? Are you going to drop out of this race? Are you going to resign? Are you going to get out before the deadline? And my answer to you, Jake, is no. And I can tell you why.
What does that have to do with any of them lying?
Donald J. Trump faced the most extreme allegations in the world that hit him day after day after day. And people in the media, very much like yourself and others, said that he would have no shot at winning, that he should not be the president of the United States. But guess what? He stayed in and he was resilient. And what the American people can see,
it was proven in civil court that he raped E. Jean Carroll. That's why he had to fork over at least $5 million to her, which thankfully was recently, I believe it's concluded, even though Trump tried to avoid it drastically actually paying her. I'm pretty sure she finally got the money from him. But like, it's so weird to me that he's using a literally, like, civilly convicted rapist as a defense against accusations of his own domestic violence accusations. Like, what a world we live in. Just like, I think he's just like, well, look at this guy who did something allegedly so much worse than me and so many more times, because it wasn't just like E. Jean Carroll that Donald Trump engaged in. It was also all of the allegations of like Epstein Island and everything else that he has said, including but not limited to openly admitting that he, quote unquote, grabs women by the pussy and behavior like that, right? Like, an abuser using another abuser as a shield against his own abuse accusations, and why he feels like he can still win, because it's been proven to him that, despite all these accusations that are coming out against him, he still has the potential to win. And genuinely, even though he hasn't dropped out and he's not dropping out, I honestly believe that unfortunately he actually has some merit behind those beliefs of his. It's quite scary.
That they can see that somebody is fighting who is resilient, and that is a quality that the American people cherish. And so for no second am I going to sit here and continue to be debased by false and baseless allegations and be pushed out of a seat I have worked so hard to represent and done a terrific job for our community.
I worked so
my
hard
record in
and
Congress
worked
on the
so
Ways
hard
and
for
Means and
people.
House Foreign Affairs and bringing back money for our district,
right,
and standing up for the Ukrainian people and also voting to protect Obamacare during this entire time. This is why no one's attacking me on my policy, Jake, because they can't. I've been a good legislator. All they're trying to do is create rumor mills without evidence. It's all hearsay.
No, it's not. No, it's not, because we know that it's not hearsay. Because the daughter literally herself told a third party that she was scared of her father and that going to kill mommy line, right? Like that's not hearsay. That's not hearsay, that is evidence. And by the way, one of the things that I think people don't realize is that your personal account, even though it is just your word, that actually counts as evidence too. It is valid evidence too.
You realize it's not hearsay if it is firsthand testimony from women, and I just named 3 people that are providing firsthand testimony. That's not hearsay. But do you realize what it is in terms of how tall an order it is for voters and your colleagues and everybody watching right now to believe that 3 women who don't know each other made up accusations of you being violent, and you are telling the truth here, they are lying? That is a difficult thing for people to believe, right?
No, not in this instance, because every single one of these things that you're brought up, unlike other candidates throughout the country, I've already had investigations into. The domestic abuse allegation that you're referring to against my ex-wife, Department of Child and Family Services already reviewed that, and they viewed that nothing happened.
So we don't actually know if the other instances got investigations. He just made a blanket claim that every single situation that was brought up had investigations against him. The only investigation that we know for sure is to deal with his ex-wife, his current ex-wife, and his child, right? We don't know if there was an investigation during the situation from the incident between him and a 13-year-old girl, as well as this other woman that came forward saying that she was so scared of him every single day because she wasn't sure about what his mood was going to be that day.
Village Police Department. Miss Moreno filed the police report. The prosecutor looked at it. They looked at it for a very long time. There was nothing there. My case is much different than everyone else that has been laid out before. Yes, I have tangible evidence, and I have also had investigations that have cleared me of every single thing you have mentioned, except to be clear.
He wasn't cleared because he never got to go to court, right? That's something else that's important to keep in mind. He wasn't actually cleared of anything, right? He wasn't acquitted. He wasn't found not guilty. None of those things happened. There just wasn't enough evidence to bring it to court. So again, that's not to say that something didn't happen. It's just saying that there wasn't enough evidence to bring it forward because they didn't feel like they could prove it beyond a reasonable doubt and get a conviction, which is one of the bars in the litmus test as to whether or not a prosecutor brings a case forward. They want to ensure that when they bring a case forward, that they believe that they can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Otherwise, it's literally just a waste of everyone's time and energy and emotions and everything else that comes along with it.
Let's talk about this because in the custody lawsuit, there was a discovery phase. And Emily Marino's lawyers asked you a series of questions about past alleged incidents.
How are you?
And some of them you denied outright. No, that's not true. No, that's not true.
I'm going to give you a shout out because I don't know if you
to answer at all. Your lawyers claimed they were not relevant, and the ones you
I was thinking about you the other day, actually.
The incident involving the stairs, or your past alleged drug use.
I hope you're doing well.
If you ever referred to the birth of your child as, quote, setting your playground on fire. If you were ever kicked out of college.
Just like, I'm just going to rewind this a little bit.
And I have also had investigations that have cleared me of every single thing you have mentioned, except to be clear.
Let's talk about this, because in the custody lawsuit, there was a discovery phase. And Emily Marino's lawyers asked you a series of questions about past alleged incidents. And some of them you denied outright. No, that's not true. No, that's not true.
Hi, how's it going? What are you talking about, and why is that? I'm doing good. How are you? I was thinking about you the other day. I was like, I wonder where that person was, because I was thinking about wingnats, and I was like, I need to actually research what wingnats actually are. But we're talking about a person named Max Miller, who is a Republican senator, and he is up for re-election, and he has had a lot of abuse allegations come out against him. And he put out this live stream, and I think one of the things that isn't covered in this live stream is one of the things that he spoke about and openly admitted about was throwing near scalding hot water on his ex-wife and downplaying it and stuff like that. And so this is just an interview with him and Jake Tapper addressing further allegations. There was actually 3 women that came out against him So his ex-wife, another congressperson, I believe, another female congressperson, as well as a teenage like, I don't want to say ex-girlfriend, but like a teenage female that he pushed down the stairs out of anger, allegedly, when she wouldn't let him touch him. There's also allegations that he broke his 2-year-old daughter's collarbone, leaving a handprint on her collarbone where he hit her. So we're just going over that. It's all so tiresome. What do you mean? What's so tiresome, Griper?
All your lawyers claimed they were not relevant, and the ones you didn't answer include the incident involving the stairs or your past alleged drug use. If you ever referred to the birth of your child as, quote, setting your playground on fire, if you were ever kicked out of college, you wouldn't answer them. I can tell you that I never did any of those things. Why can't you?
Because, well, Jake, if you're wondering, I'm happy to answer those questions.
I should say I have smoked marijuana.
Right.
I'm sorry, I take that back. I have smoked pot before it was legal. So I'm getting it all out on the table.
Yeah, and that's great. So have I. And I don't think, previously when I was younger or even, a few years ago, there's anything wrong with cannabis use, as it's legal in 39 out of 50 states in the country.
In the Mother Jones story, it said when you were picked up for the drunk driving, you had ecstasy in your system.
Look, once again, these are already investigations, and we're bringing up things from 15 to 20 years ago.
But why wouldn't you answer those questions in discovery? Why wouldn't you answer the questions about whether or not you would push that girl down the stairs?
Well, because it never happened. Why would I give something credibility and answer for something?
What? If something never happened, why would you just not say that? Like, this whole weird workaround of like not wanting to give something credibility is just kind of weird like, it's not even a cop out to me, it's just like a weird avoidance tactic. Like, if somebody accused me of doing something, I would be like, angry if somebody accused me of pushing somebody down the stairs, because I've never fucking done that before, and B, like, you're making it a horrible accusation of something awful occurring that didn't. And my first answer would be like, no, that never happened. Like, it's so simple just to say something like that. Like, no, that never happened. Super easy. This weird, like, oh, because I didn't want to lend credibility. Like, you're not lending credibility to something by saying that something didn't happen. In fact, you're making you're letting credibility to something by not addressing it and answering that it didn't happen, because that leaves room for people to speculate and be like, okay, why, like right now, it's just like, why would you not just answer this? And your answer and response as to why you wouldn't answer it just doesn't hold water, and it doesn't add up.
Something that never happened.
Like, all the drama, like this, politics is so unserious. This is why we need a dictator to come and be like, you're all done. Oh my God, Toy Groper. Are you kidding me? I feel like you're joking, right? You must be joking. I don't think that this is unserious. I think that accusations of like abuse, especially child abuse and spousal abuse, are incredibly serious personally. Although, like, I understand if you're like, all this like drama takes away from any potential progress. But at the same time, we need to make sure, like, regardless of what party is getting in position of power, we're not electing people like Donald Trump again. So even if you want a dictator, you're more than welcome to have one, but let's not have it be Donald Trump. Let's have it be somebody like Zoran Mamdani. Groper says, hey, did you know that the Republican establishment is panicking and freaking out right now? There's debate on the percentage of young guys being between 40 and 50, and 75% are groypers. I don't think that there's 75% of Republicans are groypers. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that 75% of Republicans are old boomers, like old white boomers. I mean, I think that they probably have some stuff in common with groypers, but no. Does not mean that 75% of them watch and love Nick, but are aligned with the policies. Yeah, like, that's when I think of groypers, I don't think of like boomers who are like old school Republicans. I think, like, when I think groypers, I 100% just think Nick Fuentes. But I understand what you mean, and I agree with that. I think that like a large portion of them probably do agree, like, at least to some extent. There's probably some overlap, even if it's not like a full strong 75%. There's probably like some percentage that does. And because if there wasn't, then Donald Trump would not be president, because Donald Trump is, in my opinion, a secret groiper, a low-key groiper.
But this woman isn't even coming forward. I don't know who you're referencing. You know, unless these people actually put a name to these allegations.
What? Just a sec. I'm going to roll it back for a second because I think that that's something that needs addressing.
And I don't think, you know, previously when I was younger or even, you know, a few years ago, there's anything wrong with cannabis use as it's legal in 39.
No, those percents are for a specific group of people. That is a number for like the under 30 group, okay, that are staffers and at the think tanks like Heritage Foundation and college Republican presidents and shit like that. Okay, that makes sense. So you're referring to a specific group of people who are under 30 who are in either positions of like representative power within certain organization groups and stuff like that, like essentially political social leaders. Is that what you mean? Like the discussion is 40 to 75% of that specific group. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I thought you meant like 40 to 70% of like Republicans as a whole. Like maybe there might be some overlap. Like I could see 75% having at least one thing in common with the groypers, but that makes more sense. Of young men involved in Republican politics or groypers. I don't know if it's like, I think it would probably be closer to the 40%. That would seem more realistic to me, but I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't, again, that same kind of overlap where like maybe 75% of them have some similar opinions, but like there's probably definitely a hard like 40% that are like super hardcore groypers. I think that's plausible. Yeah, 100%.
Out of 50 states
in the Mother Jones story, it said
Politico and the New York Times reported on this recently of the admin officials talking about this, and they're panicking. Why are they panicking? Are they trying to like get away from Donald Trump? Donald Trump is definitely like a low-key groiper. I don't know why they're freaking out. Isn't that like their entire bullshit?
Drunk driving, you had ecstasy.
You figured they'd be happy.
Once again, these are already investigations, and we're bringing up things from 15 to 20 years ago.
But why wouldn't you answer those questions in discovery? Why wouldn't you answer the questions about whether or not you would push that girl down the stairs?
Well, because it never happened. Why would I give something credibility and answer for something that never happened?
But you did that for other. You did that for other questions.
But this woman isn't even coming forward. I don't know who you're referencing. You know, unless these people actually.
So did it not happen, or does he just not know who you're referencing? Which means that if he doesn't know which specific woman is being like, why would you need to know who is being referenced if you didn't ever do anything, right? Like it wouldn't matter if somebody came up to me and accused me of something horrible. If I never did it, I don't need to know who's making the accusation. I just need to know that I'm being accused, because my answer would be, no, that never happened. And that is all that would need to happen on my end. Like, I wouldn't need to know who's saying it. That'd be completely irrelevant to me, because if it never happened before, then I don't have any reason to know who's making the accusation. That would be completely irrelevant to whether or not that situation happened for me. And the fact that he's like, well, I don't really know who it was. It's just like, well, did you do it multiple times? Like, are there multiple people that might come forward? Like, what's happening here? Toy Groiper says, I believe 30 to 40% are actual groipers, but up to that 75% number is what's called an adjacent. Laughing my ass off. Okay, fair enough. Because that's the generational difference. The old GOP is dying with boomers. Is dying with boomers. The worship of free market capitalism and the hawkish foreign policy. Okay, so that's what's dying off. Fair enough. All that's dying, which is good, because the worship of capitalism, if we can get past that as a society, although I don't think that the groypers are really going to usher us into the future that I personally envision as a positive future, the more we can distance ourselves from the desire and like concept of unfettered capitalism, I think the healthier of a society we can have. Toy Garper says, that's all dying. That is a very small and shrinking portion of the Republican Party. I would believe 75% to 80% are Groyper adjacent of being totally against immigration and foreign wars and want capitalism reined in. Yeah, like that's like I'm for the capitalism being reined in part. Like that's where me like that would technically classify me as what a Groyper adjacent, because I believe that capitalism needs to be reined in. But I don't think that like being totally against immigration is healthy, and I am personally for like reducing the level of foreign interference in regards to war efforts also. So does that make me Groyper adjacent because I align with two of those points rather than all three?
Put a name to these allegations and come forward, I don't know how the American people can continue to believe things like this.
When's
is also concerning.
When's the last time you ever used illegal drugs?
Because you're being drugs?
Yes, because you're being investigated right now by the House Ethics Committee.
The last time, I would have to say, the last time I had illegal drugs would have been, I don't know, several years.
It makes sense to a Groper. He says 75 to 80% of all total Republicans in the younger generation agree with Nick, even if they think he's like terrible or not and not funny. They are aligned on the policies, if that makes sense. Yeah, 100%. Just like on the left, there might be people who align with like stuff that Hassan Piker says, but they don't necessarily like Hassan Piker. That doesn't mean that they're not still leftist. Like, I understand what you mean. Totally makes sense. Thank you for explaining further, though.
Years ago. I mean, I don't have a...
Also, just on the point of Max Miller, whether or not he's done illicit drugs and stuff like that, I don't really care about that so long as you're being a responsible parent, which is like alleged that he's not having been done that, right? Like, I don't really care if you are being a responsible parent and you go and get a babysitter for your kid, and then you go off and do ayahuasca or whatever for a day. I don't give a shit about that.
Investigated right now by the House Ethics Committee.
The last time, I would have to say, the last time I had illegal drugs would have been, I don't know, several years ago. I mean, I don't have a time frame on it, but I don't use illegal
20?
drugs. No, Jake, this is what they're doing, okay? This whole, needles thing, this is testosterone replacement therapy. People are painting this as something that it's not. Secretary Hegseth, who is the Secretary of War just 3 weeks ago,
hey, Duncan,
allowed
welcome
our
in.
entire military, who are males, to take testosterone replacement
He looks like he's on
therapy.
drugs right now. I honestly, his eyes look like pretty dead inside. I'm gonna be honest. It makes me a little uncomfortable when I look at him. But yeah. Toy Groper says, oh, and to answer your question from earlier, just the clown show of politics, all the scandals and allegations and resignations, all of this is so tiresome. I literally don't care anymore. I've seen so many of them since 2008 when I got into politics. I give no attention to it. I care about policy and policy only. So if somebody were to maliciously just murder somebody and that became a scandal, you'd be like, nah, that's fine. I just care about the politics kind of a thing. Is that what you're saying? For me, the reason why this stuff matters to me, although I can understand your fatigue on it because it seems like it's a lot and there's no perfect politician, especially for me on the left. It can get a little bit fucking tiresome when they're going after Mayor Zoran Mamdani about his wife liking a certain tweet. It's just why is this a scandal? That's not disqualifying for me in any way. And who on earth would that be disqualifying for, given all of his policies and the fact that not only does he have these policies, he's proving through his activity that he's actually going to try and take care of these things. But when it comes to more serious allegations, for me, the reason why it's important is because it shows a reflection of who they are as a person, and it influences my ability to believe whether or not this person would follow through on their policy positions, right? That's why it matters to me, in my personal opinion. Yeah, kind of. Trump could shoot someone on Fifth Ave and he'd lose no voters. I guess so. I don't know. That seems a little bit intense. Just a second, Duncan. I think I saw your message. Duncan says, when I become global dictator, I will equally be oppressive to everyone. What do I gotta do to earn a golden ticket from you, Duncan? Because every time you come in, you're like, I'm going to take over the world. And I'm just like, okay, well, how do I get a seat at the table? Because, you know, I would like to have some influence on what's going on in terms of your dictatorship, if possible. Also, that's funny, Toy Grover.
That's what I was doing.
You have maybe 500,000K? Actually, that's pretty cheap, honestly. I could probably earn that. 500K? I could probably trade like that's, yeah. Okay, but am I allowed to buy seats at the table for anybody else?
Any illegal drugs. This is nonsense, and this is much more
about
Mr. Moreno and and my ex-wife are continuing to put this stuff out there.
Well, I think it's because
I'm very open.
I think it's because there are 3 women.
I think it's because Toy Grover says, I mean, I read a quick article or tweet and take it into account and consideration, but you'd never catch me watching a half-hour interview of Jake Tapper interrogating and doing a struggle session of apologies and humiliation rituals about it. Like, this is so unbelievably boring. Fair enough. Don't worry, it's almost over. We're gonna get into something else. So what, since this is not like for you, what kind of stuff would you like to see? Because maybe I'll consider integrating more of that into my streaming. But I thought that this was important to cover and interesting, not just because of who this person is, but because of the topics that it covers, because I can give you a little bit of background on their like techniques and manipulation tactics. If you catch earlier in the stream, if you go back and watch the VOD, I talk about his techniques and stuff like that. Duncan says, there are moral red lines like assault and abuse, but stuff like infidelity and minor drug charges don't really matter to me. Yeah. Like, I don't really care about, like, his drug use unless he was, like, irresponsible when taking care of his kid or something like that, because that would cross the line. Otherwise, other than that, I genuinely, like, I don't give a shit. Like, you can be shooting cocaine up your butt or whatever every single fucking weekend, so long as you're showing up to work on time and you're doing your fucking job. Go forth, be plentiful, and do it safely. Like, I just don't give a shit. But yeah, like, this guy definitely crosses the line for me, because if he's willing to abuse the people that he's supposed to be, like, trusted with the most, then what is he going to do when it comes to all of his constituents and everybody that he's supposed to be taking care of there, right? Like, I think that is a reasonable line to have. Infidelity is not an issue, to be honest. I think that it can sometimes be. Like, for me, it's not the biggest issue in the world. Like, that can be a bit of a private issue. It depends on if it's, like, paired with other things. That's when for me, it becomes more of a situation of, like, okay, this kind of becomes more serious. Like, with Graham Plattner, like, he had, like, so many different allegations, and that was kind of one amongst them. And although if that was just the issue, I'd be like, yeah, that's not really all that, like, that's bad, but that's not necessarily disqualifying in terms of being able to be a political figure. The fact that it was paired with so many other things, that just was used as a like, to add credibility to the other accusations that were made against him. Excuse me. Toy Groper says, oh, I definitely have videos laughing my ass off. If you want to watch some far right stuff and give your counterpoints, yes, please feel free to send them in the Discord. Let's see, does this work? Yes, feel free to send them to me in the Discord. We like the tattoos. What tattoos? Oh, you like Graham Plattner's tattoo? And then his shitty fucking cover-up tattoo? You could tell that shit was rushed because it looks fucking terrible. Man, get that shit lasered off now that you're not in a position where you're like, that should have been his option, like, from the start, not getting it covered with some ugly, like, Norse tattoo that did not look good at all. He should have just gotten that shit lasered off, man. It's an option now. It would have taken a little while, but it totally would have been worth it. Please no Nick Fuentes, though. His voice is too annoying to listen to. Yeah, I might make Nick Fuentes you gotta pay me, like, certain amount of subs for a certain amount of time that I watch him, just like I did with the Johnny Depp and Amber case. But yeah, like, we're not gonna react to it today because we don't have time today. Bro, I'd excuse the tattoo before cheating on the wife or some shit. Seriously, you'd excuse a Nazi tattoo before cheating on the wife? Infidelity is more important to you than being a Nazi? Groper, why is that?
3 women that have alleged violence. I don't think any of this is actually about illegal drugs at all. I think it's because 3 women have alleged violent behavior by you, and 2 of them are fairly high profile on the record.
But Jake, once again, the one part that I am never going to back down from
infidelity, no problem. It's a personal choice. Yeah, I mean, like I explained, like when it came to Graham Plattner, it was just because it added credibility to the other accusations because it showed a pattern of being disrespectful to the person that he was being intimate with at the time, right? That's it.
Dad is number 1. I have had 2 full
Oh, I got you. I'll grab just a dude doing commentary over gameplay. It's just a nice and simple. Okay. Oh, I mean, I'll watch stuff. I'll watch stuff that you send me in Discord, even if it is Nick Fuentes. I don't have a problem checking that out. I just might not necessarily watch it on stream. Like, I can't watch anything on stream today because I'm just too hot and there's not enough time to do that after we finish with this one. But for the future, I'll definitely even if I don't watch it on stream, that doesn't necessarily mean that I won't watch it off stream and check it out because I do think it's important to pay attention to our counterparts, even if I don't like them. But yeah, if you want me to watch it on Nick Fuentes on stream, you got to pay me a certain amount of money to do so.
Never backed down from it, but you sued Stephanie Grisham for defamation, and then you backed down from that suit, right?
No, that's not true. There was a settlement agreement. And
Gorfer, if you don't mind me asking, are you an actual Gorfer or do you just mean as one? It's so difficult to tell.
And that's all I can say regarding it.
Let me ask you,
but if you're asking...
You spoke with the president yesterday. Did he tell you what he is telling aides privately, that he does not think you can win?
Look, the conversation I had with him yesterday at 9 a.m., and I've gotten a million phone calls.
He still has
about
the
this,
backing from Donald Trump, so there's still a reasonable chance that he could win.
He said, Maxie, it's going to be a tough race. And he said, I don't know if you're going to be able to, pull this one out. And you know what, Jake? I reminded him of the same resilience that he had when people told him that he was going to struggle in 2016 and he became the 45th president of the United States. And I have the utmost confidence that my constituents back home know me. This race is a home race. This isn't about what the national media thinks. This isn't about what people in California or New York or Florida think about what goes on in Ohio 7. What you're going to see here, Jake, is that I am going to be successful in this November because my constituents know who I am, and they also know who my ex-father-in-law is, and they also know who my ex-wife is. And that's why you've seen people aren't running from me.
He looks cooked up.
My numbers in fundraising are strong. Speaker Mike Johnson, everyone else, they're standing behind me. No one has told me to get off the ballot, and that's because they know I can win this seat and see this through. And that's what we're going to do.
That's not true. Lots of I watched a video earlier. Lots of his Republican counterparts are calling for him to step down.
Let me ask you one last question, and I do appreciate your taking the questions here. Yeah. Is there anyone in your life, whether it's Republican leadership or your family or your girlfriend?
It's true. It's true. I would take a bullet
really might be in the best interest for your daughter.
I would rather die than betray him or the American First Amendment. I can't tell if you're serious or not again.
You're still a young guy. You can always come back.
And I have confidence in Nick and our ideas and vision for the future of America to be better than it was now. Yeah, but Nick Fuentes would literally have me enslaved. Are you saying that you would have me enslaved, Groiper? Toy Groiper, is that what you're saying right now? That's a little concerning. Okay, let's keep going.
Jake, I have been struggling with, over the last couple of weeks, but
100% take serious? Oh goodness.
The same way. I think
you should not be willing to take a bullet for some streamer. I can't tell if you're serious. Google. I've taking you at face value here. You should not be willing to take a bullet for Nick Fuentes because he would not even piss on you or if you were on fire, even for the entertainment value of having pissed on somebody that was on fire, which would be the enjoyment factor that Nick Fuentes would get out of that, not because it would help put you on fire. Definitely not. I don't know where you get that from. You've never actually watched him long form. I've watched enough of that motherfucker to know that if he had the opportunity to have me as a slave, he would definitely take that. I mean, he might pick some other people because he thought they were more choice, but you get the kind of idea. He would definitely enslave black people again. Hi, Miori. Welcome in. How are you? Miori says, I'll be honest, unless you're my kid, I'll let everyone die first. Fair enough. I understand that sense. Yep. That's probably a healthy way to be. Make sure you protect your own, but preferably it never gets to that point where you have to do that.
Which is, I am never going to give up. And what I mean by that is my daughter's going to grow up one day and she's going to see all of this. And she's not going to see that her father caved to political and social media pressures for something that he never did.
Like, why is that the thing that he thinks his daughter is going to be, like, happy to see? Or, like, he's not even expressing that his daughter would be happy to see it, just that she would see it at all when she grows up. Not that her dad is a loving, caring parent and would never hurt her, and like that there's endless amounts of lies being told about him. No, it's that he is a strong fighter and he's never giving up, and he's not talking about how much he loves his daughter and how much he cares about her and stuff. Like, no, about how he's a strong political fighter. My goodness. Troy Groper to Miori. I don't know you from Theories chat, correct? Duncan says to Troy Groper, I don't know if you'll die for him, but you'll probably a Groper, I guess. Yeah. And Miori says, yep, at least I think so. I get confused with names a lot. No problem. Me too, Miori. Who is Theory? Do I know Theory? I might be following them already. But yeah, I remember me and Troy Groper have a very different views. Yeah. Well, welcome in. It's amazing to see this crossover.
There are more than 50% of the people within this country who are divorced. And men get a really bad shake when it comes to family court. And it's not addressed enough in any way possible.
In some instances, this is true. For the most part, like, depending upon where you are, it can be that the courts will try to keep the child with the mother. But at the same time, if the father is financially well off, then the courts will oftentimes side with the father over the mother. Max Miller looks constipated. He looks like he's in a lot of pain right now. Toy Groper says, I don't know, man. Mine's pretty distinct on Twitch, but I went on a rant about some shit, so yes, Mary can vouch that I'm not trolling like I am the real Groiper. Okay, fair enough. I literally just ran into Eleni in another chat yesterday too. If you've ever seen her in Theories chat before, Mary, I don't know who Eleni is. I am still super fresh to finding new streamers, so feel free to drop them and promote them in my chat. Making the friends.
So here's what I can tell you is that I've received more support than
ever. For LOL, we tend to end up in the same circles. Yeah.
People where I live. And that is why.
I mean, I gotta give you credit, Toy Groper. You are coming in and actually like engaging with like a person that doesn't believe the same things that you, and you're not being a piece of shit about it either, which is nice. Thank you.
Out of myself and other Republican colleagues, that I'm the only one that doesn't have an active investigation into it. And so, at the end of the day, I let the truth speak for itself, and the truth is right there. And I will never ever.
Except he openly admitted to, despite the fact that he was downplaying, throwing scalding water on his ex-wife. Hi, Sturkey. Welcome,
let my baby girl see her dad walk away as a quitter. I will continue to finish this, and if I have to run all the way to the end and I'm not successful,
welcome in.
And that's a decision that I decide to make, and I can hold my head way up high knowing that I fought for the truth no matter what circumstances and no matter what came my way every single day. That Ruthie Miller will know that she's proud of her dad, who bears my last name.
But you understand
the
reason that this is a story is because it's not the first time.
I'm good going to Blackpool tomorrow. What Blackpool?
That's the reason. Now, it has nothing to do with political vendettas. It has nothing to do with Senator Marino. It has to do with the fact that there are two women on the record and a third who has talked to reporters or a reporter about what happened.
A play? Okay, what do you get to do with the play? Troy Groper says, would be nice if you didn't actively think I'd want to whip you. Maybe in one context, but not in the other. Oh my God.
Because as you can see right now,
nah, JK, I can't say shit like that. Y'all think I'm dead serious sometimes.
But throughout this process, objectively,
I don't know, prob speech.
People aren't asking the tough questions out of them. I mean, it's
hope you survive. It's the British city.
Just me being a punching bag without articulating my points and presenting the evidence that we have here.
I'm from the UK.
They're not accused of physically abusing you. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Well, Jake, I got to tell you, in this country, due process is a thing, and everyone is entitled to it. And once again, I have been absolved of these claims that you.
He's like Max Miller is like constantly pushing to use triangulation by pulling in like this third party and being like, look, the court said that I didn't do it. The court said that I didn't do it. And it's like, that's not what the court said. The courts just said that they don't currently have enough evidence against you to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you did do it, right? But they gave an investigation into you because they thought that there was at least reasonable amount of credibility behind what was being said, that it wasn't dismissed right out of hand and it wasn't carried forward, right? What? Chips and Blackpool is like a pub and beer? You gotta have it?
Continuously are bringing back up, especially the most recent one with Miss Moreno. Once again, the Department of Child and Family Services and Bay Village Police Department took her report. They investigated everything that she said, both the Bay Village Police Department and both Child and Family Services. And you can see right now, I'm not getting any special treatment, Jake. Okay. So if I really did those things, why wouldn't I be in prison? It's because it's an extreme fabrication of the truth.
It's incredibly difficult to prove these things, bring it to court, and get a conviction, especially when it comes to like sexual violence. That makes it all the harder because more often than not, when it comes to he said, she said situations, there's rarely enough evidence to prove the allegation true, right? Because how are you supposed to prove just by your own word that somebody held a gun to your head, right? All you have is your own word, despite the fact that it actually happened, and you knew unequivocally that person A held a gun to your head. Like you can't because they can just easily turn around and be like, no, that didn't happen. And then like, what proof does what evidence do the police have to actually bring those cases forward to be able to prove them in court? Like that's how difficult it is, right? Because even if the police believe that you were telling the truth, that person A held a gun to your head, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to have enough evidence to bring things forward.
And you look,
Surfy says,
at the end of the day,
I mean, Blackpool does have places to go to go in for food and drinks, but I'm probably just have a walk on the beach. That sounds nice. Clear my head from the mess I had. LOL, that sounds nice, Surfy. So maybe I will get food. Yeah, grab a snack, have a little picnic on the beach.
Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
That sounds like a good time. All right, we're going to move on to one of my favorite content creators. This is more just personal drama kind of stuff, so this should be a little bit more chill. This is Bose versus the World. She's also a streamer here on Twitch. I'm going to link her stuff right now. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. She is one of my favorite streamers. She often does not just does like body cam footage and like you know, like narcissistic parents and stuff like that, breakdowns, which is what we're going to watch right now. And I like her because I've learned a lot of like psychological information and like therapeutic information from her. Sometimes I genuinely consider her like a free therapist because she constantly provides you with like techniques to understand like social situations. So for me as an autistic person, it's incredibly helpful to be able to hear these kinds of things. It's helped like immensely throughout the years.
Estranged parent situations for years now. And if you've been watching for the last 4 or 5, you've seen I've gone from getting super triggered to a lot more calm, okay? We lock in, we decode the mechanisms.
I have an ex with NDP, so hard to deal with them. Yeah, I've had a various amounts of like varying levels of abusive exes, unfortunately. So yeah, and dealing with somebody with narcissistic personality disorder can 100% screw you up. And yeah, like for me, once I figure out like somebody has NDP or like even close to it or is exhibiting even behaviors, because I don't think that I can actually diagnose people. Like when I say somebody has NDP or anything like that, it's just personally for me, myself. It's just kind of like, nope, done. Like I have sympathies for them that they grew up in a household that likely contributed to them growing up into this kind of person and developing that type of personality disorder. But that doesn't mean that I'm not also going to take my space and keep my distance away from this person, because chances are, more often than not, that they are going to end up being damaging to your life rather than adding Duncan says, I agree. It's all red line for me too. I'm too humble to date someone like that. Yeah, I think that it's fair. And I don't think it has anything to do with humility or being humble or anything like that. I think that it's totally fine to just be like for self-preservation purposes in and of itself, because people with NDP, even though like arguably, they grew up into developing and it's a personality disorder, that doesn't mean that their behavior isn't still incredibly damaging to the people in which they subject them to sometimes. Sometimes people with NDP are just incredibly narcissistic and like self-absorbed, but most of the time it is often paired with like damaging behavior like gaslighting, abuse, and like manipulation, emotional abuse, like lots of other awful things. Maori says, LOL, never heard of it until I met my ex. Now I can recognize someone with those traits pretty easily. Yeah. Growing up, I had no idea about personality disorders. And like, I think it wasn't until I was like in my 30s when I first started learning about like codependency and narcissistic personality disorder of BPD and all these other types of personality disorders, like in depth and stuff like that. And it literally blew my mind and opened up my social awareness in ways that I never thought possible before. It's fantastic. Duncan says, as someone who will be the greatest person of this century, I cannot tolerate someone that narcissistic. That's funny, Duncan. Okay, let's keep going.
Okay, so we are diving into another estranged parent situation. And this time, the mother whose child is no longer talking to them has decided to take her power back by starting a podcast. That's right, the Estranged Parent Podcast. Now, here's the thing. She does say that this is not for us. It is not for the children that might choose estrangement. This is for the parents that have been through it. And I know it's online, but we're not supposed to watch. You're not supposed to watch, okay? It's supposed to be only for the parents.
All right, welcome to Estranged and Rearranged with me, Candy Morris. Thank you for joining me. I am super excited to begin this new journey.
I just started breathing heavy, and I did take my beta blockers this morning, so I should be okay. I feel the
I've become too old now to deal with all of this. Yeah. I mean, the thing is like, it's good not to learn not to deal with it even when you're young, but like getting to that point when you're just like, goodbye, is a very nice place to be in. God, the Karen haircut right out of the gate. I know. It's very unfortunate that this haircut exists, because if for a short time it was cute, but it's kind of like eating too many marshmallows. It's like, yeah, that was good at the start, but now I got an upset tummy, and what am I supposed to do? I'm going to be sick for a while.
2 hours later.
Before we go into today's episode, I do really want to be
When I was young, I used to do all of this, but I'm too old now to deal with all of this, especially as someone who is going to be in retirement. Yeah, fair enough. Like, sometimes, like, people don't, like, it's not just age that's a factor, but it's an awareness of your own behavior when tolerating this kind of stuff. Like, I still have a problem with being too empathetic to people and tolerating too much shit from people. I'm trying to get better at that. But yeah, like, I hope to be where you are sometime, Duncan. I'm 18, so it's beyond. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm so glad that you're starting at that at that old age of 18, Duncan. Goodness.
This podcast is, and what I'm trying to do here, as I mentioned, it's for estranged parents.
Not for you.
The parents who are confused,
right? Not for us.
Angry.
But hey, Candy, I gotta watch. Okay, look, I gotta watch.
Yep, we watching too. We watching too.
They know they made mistakes. The ones who have no idea why they are in this estranged situation.
There's this great article called Missing Reasons. If you ever need some like mental reinforcement about like people who like claim that they don't know why their kid like stopped talking to them, or why, like, if you need a little bit of assurance for yourself, go look up this article called Missing Reasons. It's fantastic. I will probably cover it sometime on stream. It's literally one of my favorite articles ever. It's so helpful. Because guarantee you, they've been told, they just didn't pay attention.
Can come and hear somebody, me, and some guests eventually talk about this in a real way. I'm not going to be
in a real way
anything, and it's definitely not going to be dumbed down.
Okay.
Society likes to do that, and that is not how I roll. Because this is how this feels. I'm going to talk
My kid left the letters.
and we're going to talk about
have
how
to
a lot of
wonder.
parents feel.
That's good, Duncan. You have a kid at 18? Toy says, my grandmother called me to plan my grandmother called me to plan this birthday party thing she wants to do for me this weekend. Oh, that's nice. I'm like, I don't want a party. I just want to come over and eat some food and shit. Aw, that's sweet. Happy future birthday. That's exciting. Congratulations, Groifer. Mayori says, LOL, Dad, you're a prick. Yeah. Groifer says, what's all this? I was MIA for 9 minutes listening to my grandma ramble about nonsense. No, your grandma loves you. That's so sweet that she wants to throw you a birthday party still. Are you kidding me? That's nice. I think that I stopped having birthday parties thrown for me when I was like 5 or 6. Anyways, that's nice. Congratulations and happy future birthday. We're listening to this woman in the yellow shirt who is estranged from her daughter or her son or essentially their child, and she's basically making excuses for herself and why why they shouldn't feel like bad about any of the stuff that they did. And we're listening to the woman that we see in the little box there in the blue box. Her name is Bose versus the World, and she's going to help break us down this entire thing. Duncan says, yeah, he's like left with a suitcase and is living in LA, drop shipping and going on Alpha Bro podcast. Shake my head, something. Oh my God. That's intense for 3 years old. That's pretty impressive. Oh no. Toy Grouper says, I know, just don't like the birthdays. That's fine. It's just another day. I'm a grown man. I'm not a woman. I'm not a child. What does that being a woman have to do with birthdays, Griper? My goodness. Happiness is the women and children. Happiness is for you too. I'm happy for you then, Toy Griper. Even if you're not excited about your grandma's birthday. Does she make you a cake and stuff too? What kind of cake are you going to get her to make you? That's so cute.
People actually deal with the grief, the rejection, the shame, the rage, the confusion, the way this stuff gets into your head with your body and your whole entire life. And what I hope to give people is really just validation. Before I knew this was even a thing, I was searching for that. And once
Yeah, there's a reason why abusive parents who have estranged children, because it's incredibly rare for a child to become estranged from their parent just because they don't they're just like, I don't really want to fuck with you anymore. There's a reason why there are not books out there validating your poor behavior. It's because it's not something that should be validated.
Found it. I know
a grown man who turned 16 or something.
Really
LOL.
Okay. I want you to feel seen.
Are we fighting in the chat, Duncan?
I want you to know that you are not crazy. The world's going to...
And listen, I need you to brace yourself because this speech is a little bit different than others that we've heard from estranged parents, but I need you to remember something.
What is it about people thinking Reuters are like young and fat and antisocial and shit? Well, I mean, Asmongold. Is Asmongold a Groiper? I think so, right? He's definitely a white fucking supremacist. He was recently banned off Twitch for saying that migrant children should be shot at the border along with their parents. I'm surprised that Twitch banned him because he said much worse things in the past. It feels like the only reason, and this is one of my biggest irritations with Twitch as a user, and it kind of makes me want to hop off the platform sometimes and go strictly to YouTube, is because they don't seem to care about anything that Asmongold says, but they'll ban other streamers for much lesser offenses. And it's just if you're gonna have these positions, at least keep them evenly distributed and applied. Don't make it a favorable popularity contest in regards to whether or not you ban somebody for saying something as atrocious as migrant children deserve to be shot at the border and should be shot at the border. That's insane. Mayori says, I know, right? They're generally in their 50s. Toy Grouper says, no, I'm 28. I'm in shape. I'm a gym bro, and I'm well adjusted. Well, and making good money, nice career. It's shocking. I know. Oh, I know that some people can be far right and be well adjusted to society. Well, I mean, honestly, to be far right makes me think that there is a little bit of maladjustment there, at least to some degree, because of the things that far right people believe in. And Toy Groper says, Asmongold is definitely not a groiper. That dude is like a center-right liberal? Oh my goodness. Frightening, frightening. You think that Asmongold is a center-right liberal? Interesting. So what would it take for Asmongold to be considered, like, what would you need to hear from Asmongold's lips for him to be considered a groiper?
Children don't
liberal.
like to stop
I know, right?
talking to their parents. It's a very, very hard decision to make. In fact, sometimes they stop, come back, stop, come back. They bid, they plead, they just hope that the parent will change for them.
They
Don't
never
you love
do.
me enough to
Never
treat me
do.
well? Don't you love me enough to keep this relationship? And if the parent changes, usually the child stays. So when a parent is fully estranged, I have no choice but to believe that either what they did is so horrific and they can't admit to some of the big parts of it, or they're refusing to change. And so what this parent did was they went on and they broadcasted their
I actually have a mate that a center-right liberal. It can be a difficult time. Difficult at times. Oh, I'm sorry, Mori.
She is showing how far she will go to
liberal. Happy fun, la la
now,
la.
my guess is here that
What
she
is
will
it? Fentanyl, drugs,
admit to a small handful of things. I've
cutting
seen
off
that
children's
before, but
genitals.
there's going to be a huge piece that will be missing from her narrative.
I also want to help you understand this pain that you're going through. You can get through it, and you can heal, and you can get through it. Wreck your whole entire life, and that's what I want to offer.
See, and that dude, I wish I could.
Toy Groper says, yes, he is one. He is an atheist. One, he is an atheist. Two, he is pro-choice. And three, wants to expand the social welfare state and give more welfare benefits basically to bums. He states all of this and the reasons for that for this is at one time or another. But okay, but like how long ago was that? Because he's also saying that he thinks that migrant children deserve to be shot at the border. Troy Groiper says, Miori says, he's not a big dude, just had a very, very easy life and doesn't understand most things. Most others don't get things that easy. Yeah, I know people like that too. That's not too bad, but that's still like you can slowly work on people like that, but even just by like asking them questions that probe a little deeper into their belief systems. Troy Groiper said he said he was on food stamps and welfare as a kid, and that allowed him to be a bum and just play video games all the time. And he wants others to experience the same thing. Like just that's just like three things off the top of my head. Okay, fair enough. But wouldn't you want to play video games and like shit and just have food supplied to you, Toy Groper, and then just be able to go to the gym and engage with your hobbies without having to go to a job or something? All he does is hang out with e-girl OnlyFan hoes. That's very far right and traditional. Yeah. Yeah, so wouldn't he be considered a groiper, like a groiper, if because of those factors? Groiper toy. Mori says, I suspect he's bullshitting a bit. Gaming rigs cost quite a lot more than food stamps and welfare money. That's true. You think that Asmongold is lying about his upbringing and that he wasn't as poor off as he said? I don't know. He might have like. It's not that hard to save up for a $500 like PS4 or whatever. I mean, actually, yeah, it is. What the fuck am I talking about? I couldn't save up for that.
Called this out before she said.
He's a good person to watch. Oh God, he's a good bellwether for what center-right bros think about stuff. More normie, apolitical. He's like a center-right liberal. I feel like center-right and liberal are like somewhat contradictory because aren't liberals more center-left?
it because I was going to say it and then I didn't say it. What is she going to do, chat? She is going to package this up as, I'm hurt, I'm a victim, but I'm strong, and my kid's not going to get me. You're never going to get me, you little shit. I'm smarter than you, I'm faster than you, I'm stronger than you, and I'll start a podcast and I'll tell everybody how much of a victim I am, and then you'll see how horrible you are, and then you'll have to come crawling back on your knees to me if you want me. She's going to wrap this up, and I'm
that
so
seems
strong.
Very
and that is also
on par.
very hurtful to children.
Mary says, maybe upbringing might be true, but dude was on 5K PC when he started. I don't see how someone can pay rent on welfare and save up 5K in under 8 years. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Maybe he was only on food stamps for a short amount of time, but it's possible that he could have gotten like a good job or something. Maybe he sold drugs. I don't know. The math just doesn't math. Yeah, that's fair. Roiper says, very well, small L liberalism. I mean, I guess so. Like they dabble in a little bit of liberalism, but not really. Fair enough. Okay, that makes sense.
Help you name it,
Toy.
Because naming it is going to make you help you understand it, and then it's going to help you get your footing back a little bit. So today's episode is about what estrangement does to a parent. I'm not going to talk about just the emotional, because most of you already know that.
Because it's always about what it does to them and not what it does to their children.
Socially, I'm also going to touch on that begging phase. We're going to touch on it a little bit today. Next episode is going to be really digging into that, but a whole lot of the estranged parents go through that phase. And I want to leave you, and what I hope to leave you with is a better understanding of why this feels so hard and what you might be doing that makes it worse and what you can do to move forward. So if you've been wrecked by this, like I feel like I was at one point, you've been living in your head,
wrecked by your own behavior,
begging, checking, spiraling, circling, doing anything you can.
Speaking of liberalism, like oh my goodness, just a second. Duncan, what is this? What do you got for us? Yeah, come on, let me click it. Let's see, open link. What is this? What the heck is this? Liberalism, edit. Uh-oh. Nice. Liberal propaganda. Toy says, I don't know what he said to get banned. I haven't seen the clip. I've unintentionally avoided it. Do you want me to look it up quickly, Toy, to see what the clip was? I don't know if the clip has been shared, but from what I recall, and I'm paraphrasing, he said that children at the border deserve to be shot, and if they didn't want it, because they're being used as human shields by their adult parents, and if they, if you didn't want kids to be shot at the border, then they shouldn't bring their kids with them, and all this other anti-immigration garbage, essentially. Okay, I will definitely be watching that follow-up video offline. Toy says, a little extreme, probably on the right track, though? No! With, arresting and turning them away and shit like that, but shooting them, for whatever reason, that's pretty immoral and against Catholic views, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think that it should be just, based upon your religion, whether or not you're against shooting random people, at the fucking border. It should just be, a moral principle that you don't just shoot children at the border because they crossed a border illegally, which essentially amounts to, the same kind of crime as jaywalking, ultimately, when you look at it in factuality, in terms of its impact on things. Toy says, who knows? He doesn't know what's going on. His IQ is 85. Room temperature? He has got room temperature IQ. Mayoria says, LOL, so Native Americans can shoot the rest of Americans in Asmon's view? Great point, Mayoria. Great point. A tad wild, but he's not a smart person. Yeah, he's not. He's definitely not. He is not an educated person by any means, which is so weird to me because, he has access to literally the infinite world of the internet, which means that he could genuinely educate himself on so many things. even if he just spent like an hour a day watching YouTube videos to become a more informed person and a more intelligent person, I don't think that it'd be worth it for him to invest in that, because he makes plenty of money just being the piece of crap that he is right now without any effort.
You're not yourself anymore. This episode's going to be for you. Let's talk about
because being yourself is what caused the estrangement. It's time to evolve and
definitely
grow.
More an impact than jaywalking. Immigration is very negative for society. Actually, it's not. Immigration is actually statistically proven to be beneficial to society as a whole. We need immigrants. Like, we're not capable of being, like, we need worldwide integration based upon the way in which we have developed as a world. Like, there's a reason why the United States is struggling so much right now. And I guarantee you it's not because of immigrants, it's because you guys are exporting so many of your immigrants. Look at what is happening to the farming industry within the United States because of all the deportations and stuff.
What's her name? Kathy, Katie, Candy. It's time to evolve and grow, Candy. You're not going to feel like yourself anymore. And also, it's interesting that she says begging. A lot of times when estranged parents come back and beg, or sometimes even an ex does this, or a friend will do this, right? The begging is hollow. And
yeah, it's also called hoovering. It's a method of essentially like pulling somebody back into your life. And the reason why people like Candy, or whatever the fuck her name is, do this is because they've tied their identity and their worth to like having access to this other person, not because they care about this other person, but because they view this other person as like an investment of their own time that they put in. Just a second. I'm not going to approve your message, Toy, but I will read it out. So no, Asmongold is not a groiper, and he's not a far-right dude. Is like and he's not a far-right dude. Is like a low, he's not far-right. Dude is a low IQ, center-right, apologetic normie. That's what he actually is. Y'all on the left give him too much credit. Like he's some Austrian painter mastermind. Dude is like an idiot. I can approve those messages if you don't use those terms in the future, and I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about, Toy, but otherwise, I agree with you. The only reason why I ever pay attention to Asmongold and things that he's saying is because he's accumulated such a large base of population, and he's been retweeted by people like Elon Musk follows him and stupid bullshit like that, giving him more credibility and more reach and all this other stuff. Otherwise, he's literally a waste of oxygen, in my personal opinion. Mayori says, we're selling 5-cent eggs for like 80 cents each. Yeah. The woman that with that blue background, I don't know what those memes are. You would smack her? Why? Completely unrelated, but so true. Okay, let's give it a check out. Let's check this out. Duncan. Deport Elon. There you go. I can get behind that. We should 100% deport the South African, emerald mine immigrant. 100%. I totally get behind that, especially since he's like meddling in like the U.S. elections and stuff. Okay, what is this? Oh, not really. I hate being left wing sometimes.
So I don't like, being left wing a lot of the time, man. In all honesty, because we're the emotional one. I just fucking hate my teammates. A lot of the time, I do wish I was right wing. Just the normal right wing. Looks so easy, right? Because the right wing don't really care how right wing you are. They're just happy you joined in.
Yep.
Do you love Trump? Yeah, love Trump. Do you hate abortion? Yeah, hate abortion. Do you hate the gays? Oh, not really. You'll learn. That's it. You're still part of the team. Here's your hat. Who gives a shit? If you are not as left-wing as the left-wing person you are talking to, you are the enemy, man.
Yeah.
They say they're being like, are you anti-Trump? Yeah, I'm anti-Trump. Are you pro-choice? Yeah, I'm pro-choice. Are you pro-LGBTQ? Yes, I'm pro-LGBTQ. Are you anti-racist? Yes, I'm anti-racist. Are you a vegan? No? Then why don't you go join the rest of the fucking Nazis? It is exhausting.
Yep. I've actually noticed this a lot, even within the online sphere of like leftist streamer politics. It's just like, if you're not left-wing enough, perfectly aligned with their left-wing politics, you're basically X'd out. You don't count as a worthwhile person. And it's interesting as you go further and further up the hierarchy of like superiority politics kind of thing, to see like the smaller the audience the person has, the more extreme they are in their views. And it's like, oh yeah, this is very, very accurate. Groiper says, I really don't appreciate foreigners coming to the US to exploit our country for their economic benefits. It doesn't matter if it's poor people from third world countries or rich men in the world now, plus all of the money he spent on our political system too. It's gross. I agree with that part. Like, I don't like the fact, like, I don't care where you're from. Like, if you are using your finances to politically influence a governmental system, there should be laws against it and you should be prosecuted. However, I don't have a problem with people coming into the country and just coming into the country. Like, I don't care if you're poor. I don't really care if you're rich. As long as you're coming here and you're not like being a piece of shit. And even if you are, I think that you should be subjected to the country's rule of law rather than just being deported, which is something that happens in the United States all the time, that we're seeing more and more. That like these criminals and rapists that are actually caught, that actually genuinely have, like the few people that genuinely have like a criminal record background, they just get deported into their country and then they face no justice system whatsoever. And it, like no justice whatsoever. They never serve any jail time or anything like that. It's just like, this is the most ridiculous system ever, and it clearly doesn't work because you're basically letting people get off scot-free. And the only punishment is that they're being sent to a country that they don't want to live in. Which, depending upon that country, could genuinely be a terrible, terrible punishment. But anyway, Toy says, that is literally the left in a nutshell, though. You are not 100% with the wokest position. You are far right Nazi. Yeah, that's what it feels like a lot of the times. I try to be, like, that's the thing, is like when I'm dealing with people engaging in politics, I try to approach people as if they don't have the time to invest in politics the same level as any streamer online does, right? Duncan says, someone got mad at someone else because they used LGBTQ instead of 2S. Yeah, stuff like that drives me crazy. 2S LGBTQIA+, and it was shake my head. Yeah, like that kind of stuff is just kind of like, I can't tolerate that stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, if somebody is getting like close to where I am, like, I don't care unless you're like anti like awful like good things and stuff like that. Like, I got space for you. I don't care. One of the reasons why I left the left, I was so over the horse shit going on over there. Toy says, it really used to be electives. Mary says, LOL. Never do actual analysis on vegan food. I did one once years and years back, and it's so much hate for basic math of if it's enough land to make it viable for the global population. Yeah, I was just looking up how eggs are produced and stuff like that. And like, yeah, veganism is not necessarily better for the planet. That's for sure true. But Duncan goes on to say, some vegans are so annoying, like go live in a forest and eat grass if you want to sit and be mad at meat eaters. Yeah, like I'm trying to be more vegetarian, but it's just a personal choice. Like, I'm not going to try and convince other people to become vegan or vegetarian. Toy says, laugh on my ass off. Well, one, I agree with you, but for different reasons. The counter argument for that is like, why would we pay for them to in the prison system? Like, I thought this shit was overcrowded. Deport them and free up space to lock up more criminals here? Oh my gosh. So I see both sides. I'm neutral on it. I'm on the fence. I could be convinced one way or another. Okay, well, if you believe in justice, then you would come over to my side, because despite the offense, like the cost of it, it would be worth it to seek that justice. Let's try to convince you a little bit there, Toy. Mayori says, just a second. Mayori says, oops, sorry, I missed it. At Duncan, it was just funny that only a couple of them got to that conclusion, which was you could, but you have to give up cake and pretty much most pastries. Yeah, that's true. Have you ever had vegan bread? And vegan cheese is absolutely disgusting. That like, have you ever had vegan cheese? I sometimes made the mistake of buying it, thinking, "Oh, try this. It's on sale." Blech. Most disgusting thing ever. Toy says, laughing my ass off. Laughing my ass. Cenk and Anna from TYT got me into politics. Oh, in 2008. Nice, me too. I like Cenk and Anna, not anymore. Like, I don't have any qualms with them too much. I don't agree with a lot of their politics, but like, whatever. And watched a lot of Kyle Kulinski and Sam Cedar and Bosch and Hassan. All those guys. I've read Marx and Gramsci, excuse me, and shit too. Nice, but why did you switch over? True, LOL, says Duncan to Maori. We should just get rid of all government's ATP. It's becoming boring, to be honest. Fair enough. They're becoming a little bit too much for you.
The person that is calling for change, the victim.
Let's see. What is this? Toy says. Oops, just a second. Definitely don't watch this on stream. Okay, but go ahead, do it, watch it, and guess how many previous arrests this dude had? Go look and watch at the actual real world results of your views on freeing criminals. I don't believe in freeing criminals. I don't know what you're talking about. While you're at it, go watch Irina Zurutska, excuse me, get stabbed in the neck too. Okay. But that wasn't from an immigrant, was it? Wasn't that just from somebody who was mentally, like, had, like, severe mental illness issues? I don't know why you think I'm for freeing criminals. I'm literally arguing that we should keep criminal migrants, regardless of whether they're here legally or not, in the judicial system so that they can serve crime. So I don't know why you think I'm for freeing criminals, but I'll check that out after stream for sure.
Feel the hollowness in the bid, and they know deep down inside that this person has not changed at all. There's a hollowness there and a intent to misunderstand and preserve their own ego.
Actually does to a parent, because it does a hell of a lot more than hurt your feelings.
Like, I've heard of the Irina.
I think I need to tell you a little bit about
Irene?
why
No!
I feel like
Story?
I have a lot to tell you.
What about your
But I don't know how that's
quickly,
connected.
so that this episode doesn't end up being about me, because that's not what we want. I want to tell you, my name is Candy. I'm a wife.
Both of them were for black criminals. Yeah, but I don't understand what black criminals have anything to do with it either. Both, ironically, had 14 previous arrests. That's crazy. I got a Twitch message like, are you sure you want to send this? And then get auto-modded too. Yeah, I think it's because it's arguably racist to pair them based upon their ethnicity and say, like, look at this, it's because they're black and strictly because they're black. Because I'm pretty sure that you can find a lot of, like, Caucasian counterparts with the same level of criminal history, if not worse, who've done the same, if not worse, types of crimes, right? Mary to Toy Groper. LOL, dude, Irina was an immigrant herself. Yeah, like, I don't quite understand what this has to do with immigrant criminality, or why you would think, like, you haven't explained why you think that I am somehow for letting criminals go when I've openly expressed that we're literally debating keeping immigrants, whether they're here legally or not, if they've legitimately committed a crime in, like, the judicial system, whereas you say that you're on the fence about letting them go because you don't want to pay for the cost of keeping them in jail. So who's actually for freeing criminals here? Toy Groper, hello, because it ain't me, all right? Let's get that one thing straight. Lock up more American citizens that do crazy shit. So, but what about reform? What about reform? A refugee at that? Yeah, it is definitely a sad story. Tory Groper said, well, I said the argument was to deport immigrants instead of keeping them in jail. Yeah, but that's to let them go, right? Because they didn't commit crime unless they're, like, going to be held accountable in the country in which they're being deported to. Arguably, deporting them is basically just setting them free. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Oopsies. I don't know why that got auto-modded. bro, criminal immigrants are not our problem. Fuck them, send them back to their country. Yeah, but then they get to walk free. And you're saying that I'm anti keeping people in jail? Come on now. Now you're being contradictory.
I have 4 children. I gave birth to 4 children. One of my children did leave this world at the young age of 28 a few years ago. I have an estranged son. Those are my 2 middle children. I have bookend girls, an older daughter and the youngest daughter.
Leave this world is interesting because I feel like if it was a huge accident, then Candy might reference that, so I find it interesting that she says it that way.
I have bookend girls, an older daughter and the youngest dauter, who are very much in my life, love me for who I am, and we have a fantastic relationship. I have
sometimes parents of estranged children, if they have multiple children and just one of them is estranged, they'll use the current relationship with their non-estranged child as sort of like a method of backing up their own emotional and mental and egotistical belief that somehow they're a good parent in some sort of way, because they'll be like, well, look at this example right here. Obviously I did something right here because this kid isn't leaving me and they're like here making sure that I'm okay and they still love me and all this other stuff. It must be the other kids that's obviously overreacting in the problem here. Just a second. Nah, I don't care. Yeah, just a second. Mayori says, yeah, I clocked that left this world comment too. Yeah. Toy says, no, I don't care what happens in other countries. I'm American first and American only. I only care about this country until we get shit back on track. Okay, I understand that point of view where you want to make sure that your country is well. But maybe have you ever considered that to have a more prosperous America, you can't necessarily self-isolate, and the best way to have a more prosperous America is to literally lift everybody else up? Because if you lift more people up out of poverty, that reduces the level of crime there is, meaning that there's less likely to be crime, not just within your own country, but regardless of how much you may want to stop immigration, it'll reduce the number of criminals coming into your country too, because there'll be less criminals that exist outside of your country also. I'm done ranting and responding to what you're saying. Hold up. Okay, no problem.
An education, which really doesn't mean a lot.
We can focus on this and have a little relaxation before we get into gaming. I'm fine with that.
And I'm
just gonna grab some pop right quick. I'll be right back.
I have a lot to offer. The estrangement is just a part of my life, and I want you to know
this is all true, by the way.
Into super great detail about why.
That's another jab at the child that left. The estrangement is just a small part of my life. My life is so full. You are small. I'm big, okay?
I'm estranged from my son. I do want you to know, and I'm going to be transparent and always have been, that I am part of the group of parents who do know that they had a role in their estrangement, period, end of story. There was many years of my parenting that I had no clue what I was doing, and I messed up.
That's my choice.
A lot of things I shouldn't have done. Wished I could have known to do things I should have done, and I didn't, and that affected my kids, end of story. Now,
another thing that these types of parents will do when they have...
Oh, sorry, just a second. Toy says, I had more conservative views on some things and had instincts that would clock as being on the right. I was chastised by the left for common sense things. I really care about economics above all else. Okay. So I put those things to the side as secondary things. You mean immigration and stuff like that? That's fair enough. I don't know what you consider common sense, so I can't agree or disagree with you, but I understand your point of view, and I can understand why, if you feel we just watched that clip about that comedian making fun of how divisive the left decides to be and how we cannibalize each other so fucking much if we don't just line up perfectly. If you felt driven away because you didn't find a place that you fit on the left, because it's incredibly difficult. There are so many niche places. We like to pretend like we have a big tent, but really we just have a circus with a whole bunch of small tents and sometimes just individual seats that we're all expected to adhere to. Mary says, LOL, it's like the whole Mexico thing. US only. Let's disably wait, why is there now so many crimes in the nation we screwed with? Why are we coming here now? You mean like people coming to the US, there's so many crimes in the US? Toy says, but when I saw a few specific things and heard some people talk, and I took the red pill, basically I realized that other things are more important than the economic reasons for voting blue. So I horseshoed into being far right, even though I still agree with leftists on some economic stuff. Okay, fair enough. What types of things do you agree with when it comes to leftist economics? Maria says, why does a nation we made an enemy for not letting us take their oil hate us now? Oh yeah, that's definitely the US's mantra. We're the good guys unless you're a girl, unless you're at a girls' school. Oh yeah, because isn't that what happened in Iran? They like the US, the first thing that they bombed was a girls' school. Toy says, when the left, just a second, when the left started saying that having a border and any immigration laws is Hitler shit, I'm like, yeah, I'm out. That's crazy. I don't think that that's what the left says. I mean, there might be some like extremists who are like no borders, but that would be again at the top of the hierarchy of like if you go up the up to the top of the pyramid, that would definitely be at the top of the pyramid of extreme stuff. Oh my god, you're going too fast. Toy says, or like I work hard. I work hard. I work hard with my job and career and have self-discipline and work out a lot and would get made fun of like I was a right winger or like what? I genuinely don't know where this concept that being a right winger means that you like work out and stuff like that. Like I've never really heard that before. It just seems super strange to me because like I just never associated with that kind of thing. I don't know where that comes from or where it's developed from. Like I don't know, where did you hear that? Mayor says, like with the CIA boosting cartels in Mexico and then being surprised people are escaping the resulting violence or using Middle Eastern nations victims of proxy war when being surprised they're hated. Yeah, that makes sense, Mori. Thank you for explaining. Toy says common sense shit like that when the left started being against common sense shit like I just completely was done with it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it's the entire. I think that it's very few people on the left who are completely anti-border. I think that what the left is for is immigration reform and more effective immigration reform. But if you were completely anti-immigration, then yeah, that would be a conflicting belief. I can understand that. Toy said, "Oh, this is like the wokest of the woke that say shit like that." Yeah, I like exactly. Like I'm on the left and I'm not necessarily for open borders. Let anybody do whatever they want to. I do think that it is important to have some level of immigration enforcement to some degree, right? But at the same time, like I feel like it definitely needs to be reformed because if you want to catch criminals and stuff like that, making it like as easy and as possible to come in and get registered and like make sure that people are able to go to appointments and go and be kept track of and make sure that they're followed up on and integrating well or whatever needs to happen to allow them to come into your country and be, you know, effective citizens within your country, then why would you not aim for that? Because it would take a lot of the burden off of the system in regards to like, you know, what's happening with ICE and shit like that. And there would reduce the conflict within your own society and reduce unrest between, you know, civilians and the government and things of that nature. So I'm not personally for like completely removing the borders and things like that yet. I don't think that society is even close to ready for things like that. Maybe in the future, but who knows? Toy said it was a small minority, but it is growing and is becoming the majority. I don't think so. Of the online left, at least, I don't think so. I don't think that the majority of the online left is anti-border. I think that they are pro-immigration reform. And even if it's the online left, who fucking gives a shit? That's the online left. That's not necessarily representative of the actual real world, right? If you go and talk to some leftist who doesn't know who Hassan Piker is, chances are they're going to be pro-immigration. Maybe not a political normies that just vote blue, but I've lurked on Blue Sky. I don't have a Blue Sky account. A lot and stuff, and it's majority now that thinking borders is like racist and we should import what, billions of people because of suicide and empathy for them. I don't think that that's true. That's crazy. I mean, who cares? Honestly, I don't have a Blue Sky account. I've never gotten behind Blue Sky, but that's such a small minority group, a sampling group, to be like, I'm going to look at these people and turn away from the leftists. I mean, it's your prerogative, but I think that that's kind of a weak sauce argument, if I'm being honest with you, Toy. Welcome in, True Steel. How are you? If you don't use immigrants, how would you scare people? Yeah, that's true. Welcome in, True. I saw you were streaming earlier. Did you have a good stream? At the underscore, excuse me, True underscore Steel. Okay, just a second. Duncan says the new Russia sanctuary sanctions bill is crazy. I'll have to look it up on offline. Duncan. Mary says to Groiper, most of the world just wants the US to stop screwing with them. Yeah, pretty much. They're even done with they've even done it in New Zealand when our leaders embarrassed Trump on COVID. They started a bot war which conned people and gave us a super racist government. Oh no, that sucks. Yeah, it was good. That's good. I meant to pop in, but I got a little busy, so I'll have to check your next stream. What were you playing again? Dragon Quest. I've never heard of that one. Toy says it's not based on fear either way. By the way, I didn't say that it was because it was based on fear. It could just be that you thought that these people were absolute idiot morons, and I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. But like it just feels like a weak sauce argument for like going horseshoe, personally. Blowback is a great podcast about U.S. foreign policy of destabilizing other countries. I feel like I've heard about that podcast before, but I don't know if I've heard good things.
Have multiple children. The child that speaks up first and says, "Mom, you are hurting me."
Mom, LOL, I used to watch it a while back. What did you think of it, Mayori?
Or it's something. They will deny, and try to retain their character, right? Well, then when a child that they like, maybe it's the favorite daughter, oldest daughter or something, also echoes some type of sentiment saying, well, part of this is true and it's fucked up. The parent will sometimes change for that sibling, that favorite child, and they will show that favorite child. They will basically, it's a snub at the child that called them out by saying, I can change and I'm willing to change for this person. But you're just crazy. It's a form of crazy making, and it's very, very, very sinister. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Mary says it had a good point. Was pretty ignorant on others.
It just
like discounting how the cultures work and that. Okay, fair enough. I'll keep that in mind when I go and check it out. So he says very informative and very professional, very clear to understand and laid out really well. Okay, I'll check it out for sure.
Educationally, spiritually, physically, every way possible. I became a much better person overall, which then bled into every other aspect of me and my life. And unfortunately, my son can't accept any of those roles. He's got me stuck and frozen.
Okay, so first of all,
in a nutshell, without telling you
this, first of all, it is not your son's responsibility after they've gotten to the point of disconnecting with you to risk their own health, like mental health and safety, to allow you the opportunity to prove to them that you've changed. When you change, you should be changing for yourself 100% because you're not guaranteed access back to another person again. Most ridiculous freaking thing in the world. Whenever I hear stuff like this from people, it makes me believe that their change is superficial and that they've not actually done any of the real work that they're claiming to. They've just done work to make themselves more at peace with themselves rather than actually becoming a better person that would not eventually end up damaging or re-damaging the person that estranged himself from them. Toy says there are superior and inferior cultures. That's not true. And societies and ways of life in the world. I wouldn't say superior and inferior. I would say just like different, right? Like, and because who's to decide, right? Like each and every single country gets to decide whether or not they have, like, that's why they rule that way, because they believe that it is the best way to rule, even if their population base doesn't agree. It's shocking, I know, and very hard pill to swallow, but it's absolutely true. I disagree. Toy. I disagree. Just a second. What was this, Duncan? America. America. Fuck yeah. Mary says, Groiper, until you learn the reasons for those differences, like how we had washing hands as a tradition hundreds of years ago before it was standard. Bro, come on. I really don't want to put y'all in the logic chokehold. Okay, well, chokehold with this, please. Don't make me do it. Don't do it. Okay, what is this? CIA Wikipedia. What the fuck is this? What is this? What are you sending me? Unethical human experiments in the United States? Okay, I'll look this up later. You're sending me so much stuff. Okay, what's going on with chat? Just a second. Or putting fish skin on burns, which only became standard in medicine in the last 30 years. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know you could do that. Y'all are going to make me do it? Don't do it then. Don't do it. Skip it. Save it for another day, Toy.
Into our story is why I'm estranged from my son. I also am estranged from my granddaughter. I had a 4.5-year relationship with her, and that was ended when my son decided 4 years ago to end his relationship with me. So now that's enough about me. Let's get into what this.
Yo, she's still blaming him, dude.
Yep.
Okay, so it's the son. And you know, it's a lot for a dude to walk away, to be honest. Like, a lot of times chicks, like, we really be feeling it in our bones, you know? But, like, a dude, a lot of times dudes will just turn their brain off, right? They're like, yeah, whatever, mom's just that way. No, the dude left. Look, you guys know, I love Factor. But let me tell you my newest little secret.
Sorry, Bose. We don't have time today. Thank you for your video. I'll link it in the chat as soon as it's done. We probably won't have time to watch it all.
You want to not have to FB50. And you'll get 50% off of your first Factor box and then free breakfast for a year.
Hey, this is for new subscribers only. It varies by plan. So one free breakfast item per box for 1 year while the subscription is active.
So
Excuse me.
all you gotta do is go to factor75.com and then use my code BOZEFB50.
There you go.
Listen, when your child cuts you off, pulls away, goes cold, or starts treating you like you barely exist, we know that doesn't just hurt one relationship. If you are like me and you have other children, it bleeds into the whole family. In my situation, my son is estranged from everyone.
Uh-oh. Did you do it, Toy? Oh, you did. Would you say that Afghanistan's Sharia law treatment of women with covering them up except eyes and hands and the honor killings by the father or embarrassing the family name is superior, inferior, neutral, or to Western society and how we treat women? I'd say that it is not like appropriate to make comparisons based upon like societies, right? We should objectively look at the treatment on an individual basis, because if we really want to get into the treatment of fucking women in the United States, look at your president of the United States, President Donald Trump, who was held civilly liable for raping at least one people, is alleged to be a human trafficking, child sex trafficker, and has had endless amounts of horrible commentary towards women. So I don't really think that it's apt to be comparing one society to another, because I guarantee you there is literally no society on this earth that can literally show its hands and be yeah, we're clean, right? So looking on them as at an individual basis and assessing them for who they are as individuals and being yeah, these aspects of society are damaging to certain members within your community basis, that's something that you guys need to work on, is totally fine, because the same thing could be counterly said towards the United States, right? Neither one of them are people, groups that I would necessarily platform, although I would agree that killing people is definitely worse than just raping them and stuff like that. That doesn't mean that one is more preferable to the other, because ultimately neither are preferable. Does that make sense? Hi, Accident. Welcome in. Welcome in. good evening from South Boston. South Boston. How are you doing? Were you streaming today? Just a second. Let me give you a shout out. Accidents waiting to happen. How are you? Did you have a good day so far? Just a second, Mayori. Uh-oh. Mary says, that's crazy. Bro, I can't believe what I'm hearing right now. Oh, well, that's okay. That doesn't mean that what I'm saying is wrong. Mary says, I'd say they're just as shit at treating someone poorly for a medically required abortion. Yep. Or leaving people to multiple rapes due to not being taken seriously. Yeah. Like neither country is like perfect, right? And so, you know, to actually have effective change towards the way that you want to, you need to look at each society individually for their flaws and then work on those flaws individually rather than being like, well, this one's better than that one, so, you know, not too bad. Extremely hot weather, phew. Aw, that sucks. Do you have air conditioning or anything accidental? Toy says, it's like a simple yes or no. No, it's not. Not at all. It doesn't have to be binary, Toy, at all. That's the way to try to force your opinion, right? Like to try to make it's a simple yes or no is a way to try to force your opinion. And personally, I disagree with you. So I guess my answer would be no. I don't think that, you know, comparing these countries in that way is effective because it's a systemic thing with the law. Under the law in the US, women are exactly the, no, they are not. Where did you get this concept that women are treated the same under the US law as men? That's crazy. Even arguably men face disadvantages within the US law when it comes to certain situations. That's crazy. You're looking, it feels like you're viewing things from a very juvenile perspective, like a very fresh and surface level perspective, that somehow the United States is like a perfect example and a perfectly working system and has no flaws by comparison to this other place or something, which is incredibly flawed in my personal opinion. Men are treated with full rights, not even true by any measure, especially when you take into account race and intersectionality. Under Sharia law, they are not. No, they're not treated equally in either sanction. Groiper says, it has nothing to do with Trump or whatever individual does. Yes, it 100% does, because the individual makes up the whole, right? And with Trump, it offers a permissibility structure. That's why nobody in the Epstein files has been persecuted, because Donald Trump is in them himself. And if you persecute anybody else in the Epstein files, well, that means that he's at risk too. So if you want to say that it has nothing to do with him, and you're trying to say that the United States is somehow better than, like, what, you think that child rape is somehow like what, acceptable by like comparison? Like, no, I don't think so. It has nothing to do with Trump. It's about the systemic treatment under the law. Yeah, and individuals are ruled under the law. Average far right civil war be like, okay, just a second, Duncan. Oh my gosh, you guys are going so fast. Okay, what does it say? Where is it? Oh, I missed it. Welcome inside. Side flow music. How do we shun the transphobes out of our society as a whole after the revolution? I'm not sure, but it's something that we could definitely work on. Welcome in. How are you? Thank you so much for stopping by. I greatly appreciate it. Let's see. What is this?
Dan posted that he thinks Nick is a Fed and he doesn't trust him and he won't have anything to do with him anymore. And Nick didn't really have anything to say. He tried to tell Dan, you don't have an army, you don't have anything.
He is an individual and a leader.
Narcissist. And then he decided that he was going to come up with this story about how he went to Dan Bilzerian's house with you. And Dan basically asked him
the mental
if he
gymnastics
knows
y'all
how
have to go through
assassinate
to
Israeli
recognizing facts.
officials.
Really crazy, bro. Sure.
We're just twink gay podcaster, what he knows about assassinating officials from one of the most militarily advanced states in the world. And then Lucas Gage comes up out of nowhere and goes, oh my God, bro, the same thing happened to me.
it's within minutes Lucas jumped on too. These are the two guys that have constantly pushed division.
Side flow music. Women are earning more in 2026. Oh God, is that the argument? Yes, air conditioning is constantly running. Is it effective accidental?
So his name was Angelo Gage. About 10 years ago, he started
Troy Gorpers says it's not an objective view of the law as the ladder of the law.
Just came out strong.
It's
There's
not,
old videos of this. I posted this on my Twitter account where you can go
I don't
find the
understand what you mean.
videos where he came in the same way he did here.
Either way, strong, it completely failed, didn't it? Yeah.
And then shortly after, he makes an about face.
Y'all make me feel like I'm a genius.
Says he doesn't want to do anything with those people, and
That's
changes his name to Lucas.
Your own huff,
now he's come out as he's seen the
we should
light.
put those bigots in reduction. Re-education camps.
So this is your source.
I think so.
This is your source that's backing up
Leonardo Johnny. I don't know. I've never heard of this person before.
That's damning evidence number one. Damning evidence number two.
27 says women are equal these days under the law written by most men. Laughing my ass off. Also, are you an actual boyfriend? Yes, they are. Here, let me give you a shout out to 27 Club.
The phones are in the room. Dan posted that he thinks
they're a fantastic streamer. I highly suggest checking them out. They also have movie nights and they talk about politics too. It's tons of fun. What are we watching these low IQ anti-Semites for? Are they anti-Semitic? Oh no. I don't know, Toy. Oh God, I think you're about to trigger another rant. Oh no. Duncan says these far right people are just basically gossip bros. Okay. Toy says Jake Shields is literally brain damage from CTE. He can't even spell or write English. That's unfortunate.
From one of the most
Cyplo, go on LinkedIn. Anything that was male space 15 years ago is being flooded with women in 2026. It's at least 1 to 3 ratio in men versus women. You mean there's one woman to every 3 men? I would agree with that, Cyplo.
First of all,
Toy says 27 seconds. It's true. Yes.
His actual name before was like
where he says, as my dad used to say, if you think you're the smartest person in the room, it's time to pick a new room. Yes.
In
saying persecuted instead of prosecuted is crazy. Sorry, I struggle to read sometimes. There we go. Am I almost catched up? Okay, these people are low IQ wingnats, bro. They don't even know what's going on. Okay, fair enough. They kind of interchangeable in that subject from someone being persecuted.
After he makes an about face, renounces anti-Semitism, says he doesn't want to do anything with those
persecuted.
people,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
changes his name to Lucas.
No, it's 3 women to 1 man.
He was wrong about his anti-Semitic past. He's
clapping man stuff. I feel like that's an over-exaggeration.
This is your source that's backing up
Toy
says, this is all he could find.
Persecution means the cruel, unfair, or abusive treatment of a person, not necessarily, or a group of over a long time. This bad treatment happens because of person's race, religion, politics, political views, or gender or sexual orientation. Okay, I understand what you mean. Yeah, that can happen.
And the phones
look at the second. Look at the second definition. Yeah, there are multiple definitions. So there is that is true. That is one of them, but not all of them.
Nick didn't really have anything to say.
Oh my goodness, so much is going on.
You don't have an army. You don't have anything. He was
there. We go. I caught up
like a narcissist, and then he decided.
Okay, I'll have to watch that later. That was crazy. I didn't hear any of that because I was trying to read your comments and stay up. You got to pause that video, laughing my ass off. There's too much going on. Yeah, I got a little overwhelmed there. Okay, let's watch this again because I have no idea who these people are. Is Nick Fuentes a Fed? Oh, goodness. So are these people who are extremely far right, who are like, Nick Fuentes isn't far right enough? Y'all are not oppressed in 2026? You think that women aren't oppressed in 2026, side flow? Oh, goodness. We're talking about prosecution of those involved in the Epstein files, which is not persecution because it's based on action instead of like a protected class. Yes, fair enough. I must have just misspoke. LOL, cute view. Maybe in Islamic countries. What do you mean? So women are oppressed, but you don't think they're oppressed in the West, or they're not oppressed enough to be considered deserving of being a protected class? Facts, side flow. I figured you and side flow would agree, Toy. Not in America. Side flow. So who's messing with your balls? Because no one's messing with my reproductive rights or paying me less than my sister. Yeah, 100%. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate that.
Posted that he thinks Nick is a Fed and he doesn't trust him and he won't have anything to do with him anymore. And Nick didn't really have anything to say. He tried to tell Dan, you don't have an army, you don't have anything. He was flailing like a narcissist. And then he decided that he was going to come up with this story about how he went to Dan Bilzerian's house with you. And
thank you
Dan
for explaining, Briper.
asked him if he knows how
Excellent
to
says, Fuentes is an
Israeli officials.
opportunist who found a niche. Yeah, I agree. I think so too. I think that he is definitely a grifter who, like, Asmongold just like got into money. I think that he definitely believes some of the things that he says, but definitely not all of it. I think that he definitely says some things just for the sake of shock value to garner himself more attention quite frequently. Cyflo says, this chick I know got a 180K project management role with zero experience. So that exceptions to the rule does not mean that oppression does not exist, Sideflow. Mary says, so because you know, like, at your anecdotal evidence does not disprove widespread systemic oppression. So because you know you have experience as an outlier that represents the whole, yeah.
Caster, what he knows about assassinating officials from one of the most militarily advanced states
I'm trying to listen to this,
in the
guys.
world. And then Lucas Gage comes up out of nowhere and goes, oh my God, bro.
The data says you'll get hired more and earn more in 2026. Google it. Yeah, but that doesn't mean there isn't still oppression. Just because it's getting better doesn't mean that it's equal.
What was his actual name before? It was like Antonio or something? Give me
Angelo.
one.
Angelo something.
Oh, Angelo. That's right. That's right. So
I didn't know that.
Angelo Gage, about 10 years ago, he
every single hiring manager I've had as a woman,
spaces talking about the
and
anti-Semitism problem. And he really just came out
Toy
strong.
Gripper says, Cyplo, bro, it's Schrodinger's feminists. They are strong and empowered, but yes, powerless and victimized. You can be strong and empowered and still be, like, victimized. That's not mutually exclusive, Toy.
Renounces anti-Semitism, says he doesn't
whichever
want to do
one is
anything
more
with those
beneficial in the situation. Yeah, because it varies between situation to situation.
As he's seen the light,
get with the program.
Wrong about his anti-Semitic past.
LOL, I think you're looking very niche data. Yeah, hi, I trained as a social scientist, and this stats do not say what you think they do at SciFlow. I think what SciFlow is saying is because things are getting a little bit better, therefore you're not oppressed.
Number two.
Unless you're a man, lol. I said it's cute. As I said, it's cute, yeah. HR and jobs like this is just basically adult daycare for women. Oh my god.
And the phones are
you train in salami sandwich?
Dan posted
I can't eat salami, it's disgusting.
And he doesn't trust
okay,
him, he won't have
enough of this. Let's get back to what we were watching. Let's get back to your bows, and then we'll play gaming. And then we'll do gaming. I don't know if we'll get through the entire video before we get to gaming, but we'll get through a little bit more of this.
Or identify with that. Maybe you have a spouse.
Social work doesn't even work. Yeah, the system of social work is not as effective as it needs to be, but if we fund it appropriately, make sure that everybody has the training that they need, and we have enough resources to appropriately take care of people, then it definitely could. Mary says, LOL, I wish I would have gotten a far smaller student loan. Yeah. Are you still paying it off, or is it finally done? Student loans, the cost to go to post-secondary school is so it's so out of reach for so many people because it's such a high burden. And then you have like insane, like unreasonable, untenable like interest rates on like your student loans. So you're trapped basically forever. Also, social science is not social work. Yeah, no, it's not the same thing. Both are BS degrees. Oh my god. Side flow. What the hell? It's almost off. Only got 9K to go. Congratulations. Not too bad. That's manageable. It's still a lot, but it's much better than it sounds like it was. 9K is still a lot, but you're almost there. Congratulations. I hope it goes smooth as quick as possible.
But it eventually bleeds into everything.
It's true though. It's just leftist ideology for 50K. I don't know. I disagree. I think that you might have benefited from social work and social science in ways that you never even imagined.
Your ability to focus, it gets into your peace. And one of the biggest problems is that a lot of parents do not even realize how badly this has taken them down. I will tell you that for the first
imagine going to college.
Year, it was really bad for me.
Educating yourself, what a joke.
It was
LOL, because science didn't give us some monetizers we were watching on or internet as a whole.
Because it's a huge
college was a massive waste of time for me. Well, it's nobody else's fault that you decided to party rather than go to actual classes. Side flow. It's nobody else's fault that you decided on an arts major and you didn't know how to actually do art or anything like that. Like, nobody picked your courses for you, side flow. Nobody picked your courses for you.
My kids, or we're having a rough time. This is the kind of pain that flattens you. Sorry, guys, I do have notes.
I did business analytics. Well, it ain't nobody else's fault that you suck at it.
And I don't.
It's a joke, laughing my ass off. I know I'm making jokes.
Right? Or you're like me.
You have to engage and actually learn. We pay for it. It's our choice to use what we pay for or not. Yeah.
Part in what
and gender studies majors are getting hired over me. Oh, well, it's nobody else's fault that you picked the wrong career path. 2026, baby. How old?
Where's your mind?
How long ago did you even go to school? Is your degree even relevant? I wonder why. Yeah, no kidding.
Texting going on.
Going to college is an absolute scam unless you're going for law or medicine and something like this that is 100% required.
And you think about it.
Okay, but what is the solution here, right? If you feel like going to school is a scam because you don't get the appropriate return on your investment, then wouldn't the demand be ensuring that your employees provide you an appropriate return on your educational investment, provided that you've, appropriately been educated? Excuse me. College caters to women now. At least in Silicon Valley, it's hella feminine. I feel like you just feel like because women have any place in any situation aside from the kitchen, you feel like you're being oppressed, and that's just very, very unfortunate for you. You must live in a very small and very sad and very isolated world, Lou. Mayori says, who cares if they fall down and crush hundreds? LOL. What do you mean? I get LOL. I guess buildings shouldn't get designed by engineers. Who cares if they fall down and crush hundreds? LOL. Yeah. I mean, an engineering degree is definitely an important one. Okay. Accident says, student loans have compounded interest if you can't make payments. Also, student loans cannot be included in a bankruptcy. Yeah. Student loans, especially in the United States, are astronomical. It blows my mind. Especially because I don't know how it's not considered predatory lending, because don't you guys have 27% interest on your student loans? Sideflow is correct. It's 70% women or some shit now. Okay, now you're just making garbage up. Laugh my ass off. It's just a fact that most degrees are going to women. Men are more intelligent on recognizing that it's a scam and not doing it. Yet you guys are claiming that you're oppressed, but you're also saying, well, we don't want to go to school anymore and educate ourselves. I don't know. Maybe you're just not smart enough to understand the world anymore. Well, when you demonize men and alienate them since freshman year of high school, what the heck happened to you? There's going to be backlash for the mistakes of our grandparents? Okay, but what? That doesn't even make sense. What do you mean, the mistakes of your grandparents? And how have you been demonized since high school? Oh, goodness. It's off top of my head, but it's disproportionately going to women. Do you honestly believe that, Groiper? I don't think so. Cyflow, and you never ask yourself why everyone isn't alienated, huh? This shit is unreal and crazy. Fair enough. I guess so.
You're like, when did it all
I
go
think
to
your
hell?
quote unquote
You start
facts
trying to figure
are.
out exactly what it was and where it got broken. What was it? Was
This
that
is
years
incel
ago?
stuff.
Was it
Yeah, it is
No,
100% incel
The
stuff.
last time that you remember things being
I try
normal,
to work on
they were
incels
not
until they
normal
get
at
it
all.
too
The
intense and
child
then they
was
get banned.
pretending to go along with things. The child was pretending to smile and be present because they just couldn't handle you anymore. And when she says you're looking for the moment where everything went wrong, she's looking for an ending that feels safe to her. She's looking for an ending that doesn't hurt her ego, that doesn't call too much attention to what she really is. And as she sits here and describes how painful it was and how dark it was, a whole 6 months, a year of all of this, Candy, that's called growth. Okay? When you are doing
Women in the United States earn more college degrees than men overall, hold about 85% of undergraduate enrollment and earning roughly 57% of all bachelor degrees. This overall gap appears across every major racial and ethnic group through clear division remains depending on the specific field of study. So it's niche.
You're resisting the thing. And I'm not talking about a depression or anything like that, but have any of you guys
the response of 15 years of misandry being unchecked. You're 15 years old. This is an 18 plus channel.
Journaling something, and I found a trait in myself that I really, really didn't like.
According to Pew, so it's a little lower, but it's still trending this way. It's not stopped the gap. It's widening. Yeah, but that doesn't mean necessarily women aren't still under earning by comparison to men. That doesn't equate to like oppression just because dudes don't want to go to school. Especially when you're saying that them not going to school makes dudes smarter.
Affect my relationships. I couldn't be present. And not
LOL, what the fuck? Yeah, this is an 18 plus channel. Get out of here.
Really hard for me to work through.
They don't. They don't get it, bro. Oh my god. They'll never get it. It's not even worth time. They aren't red pilled. No, I'm not.
Journal, babe. You eat it up. You take
You're talking to women and blue pilled simp men. Remember your audience here, bro.
But if you resist
Miss
you'll be
Andry.
sitting there for a fucking year.
Yeah, misandry.
Like, why is this happening to me?
You don't know what misandry is?
What was it? Was that years ago? Was it that one moment? Some of us do have.
Yeah, because I remember the misandry when I was 1 year old. Okay.
Built up.
What's misandry? Define this for me. You don't know what misandry is?
Where your kid says,
Mayari? I mean, not Mayari, sorry.
It's more
Troy?
a buildup of things that happen.
Women are out earning men. Okay, now I know you guys are just trolling. LOL, I guess all science is simp. Yeah. I'm in my 20s, genius. What are you talking about?
Interjections about how it felt for me.
You've been oppressed by misandry since you were 5 fucking years old.
Worthless as a person. I couldn't get out of bed, couldn't go to work, couldn't stop contacting or trying to anyway. My husband finally had to look me in the face and say, "What are you doing? You're destroying yourself." I was living in guilt, living in anger.
It's amazing how like this parent doesn't even consider that her behavior might be destroying her son too, who is trying to avoid the negative impact, like the further negative impact of their parent. It is always, always, always just a parent like who is estranged from their kid when they think about this stuff, even if they like appear to have made surface level progress, just thinking about themselves the entire time. They're just like thinking about like how it affects them, how it looks on them, what it means to them and stuff like that. Whoa, this parent still doesn't get how no actually means no. Yeah, like they don't understand. And they are not reflecting on how their actions may be impacting the other person. It's strictly about how it impacts them. I don't know what it is, but you're mispronouncing it. Well, you either don't know what it is or I'm mispronouncing it. Make up your mind. So I want to know if you know what it is. Since you're a feminist, I know you know what misogyny is. Y'all cry about it constantly. No, she's pronouncing it correctly. Yeah, it's misandry. I noticed the anti-straight man, anti-masculinity rhetoric in 2016. Oh my god, come on now. Pure research, thank you for providing that. I'll look at it later. Miss Andrew, yeah. It's only gotten worse and created the I'm just a girl generation who will never get married or have kids, so who cares? Why do you need every woman or aka girl, for some reason you want girls to get married and have kids, to have kids? Why does that matter? Bro, this is so tiring. Then take a break. It's also tiring. Like, how can you be so confident in what you're saying when the data literally shows the opposite? Because you're misinterpreting and misusing the data to try to like falsify a point that you're making, and it just doesn't add up. That's why. It's what y'all were born to do. Oh my god, no, it wasn't. LOL. Wow. You are only a tool for breeding. Yeah, that is definitely some incel shit. I hope that you grow out of that side flow. I think that it's very unfortunate that you believe this kind of stuff. Never said that. That's exactly what you said. That's exactly what you said. This is piss poor trolling. Yeah. I'm gonna play the video. You guys can debate amongst yourselves.
Going back and forth between both of those, and that can be super exhausting. It can get into your body too. This kind of grief can affect you physically. It can get into your mental health, your emotional health. It can make you sick to your stomach. As I mentioned earlier, you can have sleep issues. Some people talk about having their chest feel like they're just not well at all. Heart palpitations. Some people go numb. They feel panicked, develop anxiety.
The estranged parents.
Did you ever think that the whole quote unquote nature argument is the propaganda side?
Guard. We need to call somebody.
At least make it somewhat ambiguous. I know. At least make it something unique and interesting if you're gonna troll.
They still have to get up and go to work. This is horrible. This is terrifying. What a tragedy. So tragic.
Have to go to work.
Why do you think that humanity needs so many more kids, Sideflow? Why don't you explain that for me? What is the benefit to everybody having children? What is the benefit societally, especially for the longevity of not just the environment, but sustainability of everybody having children?
Call the president.
And doing that with
FBI.
this kind of effect on your body can be very, very difficult. It matters to say this because otherwise you start thinking that something's wrong with you. And there is. You gotta know that there is something wrong. It's very, very wrong that this is happening. And that's why it hurts so bad.
Well,
that's why your body knows it.
Right now, only third worlders and poor people are having kids. You didn't answer my question. Sideflow. I'll respond to you when you answer my question. What is the benefit? And I'm not talking about where they're from or what you classify the person as. What is the benefit of everyone having children? What is the benefit? What is the benefit? Once you answer that, then I'll respond to you.
Oh no, Candy, did it make you see yourself as the monster that you are that abused her? Did it?
Yep.
Was it horrible? Was it shifting your self-image into something that made you...
Did it make you feel bad about yourself to have to realize that you're a bad person? Essentially what's being equated here. And most of the time, yeah. And then whenever that happens, like estranged parents will often look negatively on their child for doing this and look at the child as if the child is actually the abusive one for confronting them with their terrible behavior if they do that at all. It's crazy. It's part of life. That's it. That's your argument. It's a part of life. Well, lots of other people can have children, right? But that doesn't really explain why everyone has to have children. That it being a part of life is not like the benefit that I'm talking about. That's just a potential benefit of life. But what does it do, like societally as a whole, for the entirety of the human race, for literally everyone to have children? What benefit is there for everyone to have children? It may be a part of life, but like what benefit is that as like a whole of all of humanity? Because you're speaking on individual levels. You didn't answer my question, Sideflow, so I'm not responding. Answer my question and then I'll respond to you.
Yo, chat, I'm
and you know what it is, so I'm not repeating it.
MIDI controller. I'm hooking this shit up to a speaker next time we stream so that when Candy makes me blast off like this, I can go, ah!
The next part I want to talk about is how it messes with how you see yourself. And this is kind of one of the biggest things that we talk about.
That doesn't even make any
group.
sense, High Flow.
I want to mention, I'm going to take a minute here and mention that we do have a Facebook support group.
I can do both. Side flow. I can do both.
Oh,
by the way, how come is it that you get to argue with strangers online, but I don't get to? Aw, the projection. I know, Mayori, it's crazy. Because I'm not the one that came into your chat to argue and be an incel freak show. You're the one that came into mine. So really, who's arguing with who? I'm just countering you. Your $3,000 handbag that you bought on one of your vacations as a girl boss will never give you the same comfort as your... Okay, first of all, if you're having children just so that they can be emotional tools for you, for your personal comfort and well-being, I would argue that you should be on birth control for the rest of your life, if not fucking sterilized. Children are not tools for their parents' enjoyment and fulfillment. They are literal small human beings that you're supposed to rear so that they can eventually move on to have hopefully their own successful life. That is a crazy fucking take. I would rather take that $3,000 bag if I was the type of person to view children as some sort of comfort tool for my benefit. That's insane. Dead? Good.
Support group. So we do our best to try to vet everybody.
And these statements, when they walk away.
You're also not answering my question, Toy Breaker. You're just debating.
And how to get your power back. It's such a jab at the child. It's literally like, you're not going to get me. That's like what they're doing. And that is the mechanism. That's the mechanism that hurts. A child that is screaming, I'm not trying to get you. I'm not trying to dominate you. I'm not trying to get one over on you. I want to be equals with you for a second. And you know what? I say this all the time. Parents, you're not supposed to be your kid's best friend. Like, you're not supposed to, your daughter turns 20 and you're like, oh, we need to go out drinking, partying, da-da-da-da, right? But there are moments where you're allowed to be human and equals, even with the child. Show them that they matter. Show them that they're important. Because leaving them in a constant state of dominant hierarchy, it does something to them. Especially if your method of doing it is manipulative or hurtful in the sense, right? But a lot of times kids just want you to come down level to them, eye to eye, and say that you matter. And some people like this, they just can't do that.
And make sure that people who don't belong there are not there. But it is a support group.
Okay,
and
just
we
a second.
Do have support.
Choi says, the fact you don't understand what I'm talking about. I understand what you're talking about. I just disagree with it. I'm not unintelligent to the point where I'm incapable of perceiving what you're talking about. I just disagree with it. I'm giving you counterpoints. You're not giving me counterpoints because I'm not talking about immigration. That's just something that you're latching onto, and you're not thinking. I'm talking globally. I'm not talking just about your Western ID, like the United States and immigration, which has absolutely nothing to do with my hypothesis. The premise is women should be having children. The premise was not Western United States women should all be having children. It would be a global thing, right? If it is a woman's thing to do, that means all women across the entirety of the planet should be having children by the nature of their existence as a woman who is fertile and capable of rearing children, right? So when I ask the question, globally, what is the benefit to all of human society for every single woman to have children? And then you came back with, well, they can offer you comfort. And it's just like, well, I don't want to have a child just because they can emotionally benefit me. That seems like a very selfish endeavor. And that doesn't really seem like a benefit to me. And you're choosing a $3,000 purse over a child that can come be a tool for your emotional well-being. And it's just like, I think that I'm fully capable of taking care of that on my own. And plus, having a $3,000 purse is a lot cheaper than having on average a $250,000 rearing cost of a child. So technically speaking, if I were to choose the purse and be a girl boss picking that $3,000 purse, not only am I more fiscally responsible, I'm also economically and environmentally more responsible, as well as being a more responsible parent. Because sometimes, genuinely, the best parent you can be is not a parent at all if you don't have the capability of viewing children for the individual beings that they are, that is someday hopefully going to grow up into an adult and live their own life, right? Children are not just like there to be your thing. Mayori says, no, I didn't. I never said give a count. I did say give a counterpoint, but you're not answering my question. I said globally, and you're going on about immigration, which has nothing, it's not a counterpoint to the question that I posed to you. So no, you're not answering my question. Mayori says, dude, you're going from one subject to another. Yeah, exactly. It's called shifting goalposts. Yeah. In debates, it's considered an automatic loss in high school. Debating, LOL. We're not in high school anymore. You're going from why women should be breast breeders to immigration bad. Yeah, 100%. And birth rates in other nations. Yeah, like it's completely irrelevant to the stuff that I'm talking about. If you want to answer my question, Groiper, then I'll respond to you. But right now, you're just all over the place, and I think that you're a little bit scattered. And maybe you need to take a moment to just collect yourself so that you can reassess what's going on here. Because it feels like you're genuinely a little bit lost in your own sauce right now. Maybe you're just a little bit too heated in this situation. And in the moment, you need to just take a deep breath in, let it out, and just cool yourself down and collect your thoughts. Because you seem to be like all over the place, unable to make like a coherent thought that is actually worth responding to. So once you do that, I'd be happy to talk to you. Whoa, I never said some shit like that. That was side? What do you mean? What are you talking about? No, you're talking about immigration. Immigration has nothing to do with globally every single woman having children, unless you're saying every single child and woman is going to immigrate to another country, which doesn't really make sense. This seems pretty similar when you say not wanting to have kids is a poison. Oh my goodness,
here.
That's intense.
But what I was coming back to is the biggest thing that we chat about and that I run into is the fact
you're
that
not articulating anything in a different way. You're all over the place.
Their identity.
And now you're trying to use my words as if somehow because I said coherent, you're trying to throw it back at me like you're smart or something, and that's gonna fucking get me. I see what you're doing. So does the rest of the chat. And unfortunately, I think that you kind of lost this debate and you can't really handle it. So now you're like flailing like one of those inflatable tube like flailing tube art men. You're like, oh my god, I just gotta throw whatever I can at the wall and hopefully it sticks because I'm panicking. Oh my god.
Help. They were the teachers. They were everything.
It seems pretty so. Yeah.
That was their identity. That literally doesn't mean anything. That's another credibility shield. That's what she did getting to when she said, "Let me tell you a little bit about myself." She deployed the credibility shield. Now there are times when deploying a credibility shield.
That was not even the claim being said. Neither one of us said this. We specifically said that not 100% women have. I didn't say that. You were saying that. You're saying that so that now you can try, like you're putting words in my mouth when I have repeatedly like restated what the premise of my question was and reclarified what the premise of my question was, and now you're trying to put words in my mouth so you can seem like you won. I see what you're doing. Ain't gonna work. Dude, I replied from your direct comment, who got your keyboard?
Builder citing your resume in a sense is totally appropriate. Makes 100% sense. A work setting, meeting somebody new or something. But to do it on this type of podcast, I would describe that as a credibility shield with the intent to manipulate. And so here, she's once again trying to put this credibility shield around these other people. They were coaches. They were homework helpers. They were teachers. Dude, I've seen enough teachers go to jail on this fucking channel.
And because that relationship gets cut off, some people don't know what to do with themselves. And then they
Or
think, what does this
NDP
say
101.
about me?
Yeah,
If
100%
I'm no
Mayori.
longer a parent, what am I exactly? Does this mean it cancels everything about what I did? Does it cancel everything I did well? Just because this one kid decided that they don't want anything to do with me?
Like the diminishment of like the quote unquote this one kid, minimization of a literal entire human being that you were supposed to rear and bring into this world and like teach and help grow and be their own individual person so that they could go into the world as healthily as possible and develop like their own relationships and their own life and like have their own experiences and be their own individual. This constant minimization. Just this one kid, I'm supposed to look at myself like I'm a bad person because I hurt just this one easily dismissible kid. What does that second part of that say? Wait. Doesn't cancel it, it colors it? Yes, Maori, thank you. What does the second part of that say when I said doesn't mean 100% or half or anything, but should be encouraged? Well, now you're trying to change the premise of my argument so that, again, you can win. But you don't get to decide what my question is, Toy. I get to decide what my question is. Whether or not you want to actually answer that question is entirely up to you, but so far you have not done so. You've literally had to try to change the premise of my question as if somehow you're going to be able to take control of the situation and do that, and I'm just going to cave to it and answer your shit and not try to hold you accountable to the original standard that I set, which is the premise that we are currently arguing under, which means that that's the question that you are expected to answer just so that you can win. And I'm telling you, I see what you're trying to do, and it ain't gonna work, buddy. So again, if you want to answer my question, you are more than welcome to do so, but so far I haven't seen you do anything but flail and cry. Mary says, which includes the choice not to have kids, does it not? You're saying antinatalism is, that doesn't answer anything. Sorry, I take your words at face value. Me too. Bro, I fucking can't. Y'all can't follow logic. You don't have a logical argument. That's the problem. All right, let's keep going. We'll get into Elden Ring after this. We've got just a few more minutes of this and we can do it.
That's where shame comes in.
That's
no antinatalism. What does antinatalism have anything to do with global population? Antinatalism is actively saying that that like having babies is bad and shit. It's not like should I have kids or should I not? Antinatalism is the thought that nobody should have kids. That's not necessarily true. Some people believe that nobody should have kids, but antinatalism is generally a personal choice. Nobody should have kids because it's cruel, because it's not the children's choice and shit. Yeah, but what are you talking about antinatalism? That has nothing to do with anything. That's like a whole other thing. Yeah, it's completely unrelated. Unreal, bro. It's shocking y'all don't know what words mean. We do. It's just you have your own personal definitions. And it's a very like narcissistic tactic to use, like a manipulative tactic. Sorry, I shouldn't say narcissistic. It's a very manipulative tactic to use where you like invent your own rules and your own theories and your own like premises and your own definitions. And then you don't really explain or tell them to anybody else, but it allows you to look at the rest of the world like everything else is wrong and you're superior in every way. And no matter what anybody else says, if it doesn't 100% agree with what you say, they're somehow the ones that are wrong, even though collectively as a society, everybody else is capable of agreeing on the same definition. You live in your own special little world where everything is catered to your concepts and your ideas, and that like reinforces your own like butt sniffing like idea that your farts don't fucking smell. And it's literally one of the funniest things that I see people like you do. Maori says, I think he's trying to deflect from calling it a poison, probably. Where saying it's a poison discounts the personal choice not to have kids. Hi Neosa, welcome in. Yeah, hello Neosa, welcome back. Congratulations. How are you? I don't expect you to chat, but I'm so excited for you. Congratulations, everybody, even though you don't know what's going on. Tell Neosa, congratulations. Congratulations to you and Dorian, two of the most awesome people in the world and on Twitch. Congratulations. Been listening for a while, but that was funny. Thanks. Toy says, all right. Now what's your question? It's the same question as before because you haven't answered it. Answer this. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You asked for either one of us to provide an argument. No, I asked for you to provide an argument, and you still haven't done that. Thank you. You're welcome. Yes, congratulations, Neosa. Would you like a shout out or are you like chill?
You literally just said you're not going to do this to me. Do I need to live in the reality where one kid says something about me?
We're not talking about
absolutely.
Africans having like 3.2 times birth rate. We're talking about 1.6. No, Toy Groper, that's what you're trying to talk about. I am talking about both the United States, Africa, the Middle East, like Asia. I'm talking about the entire planet. You, again, are trying to change the premise of the question because you don't actually have an answer to my question. So you're trying to make it something that you feel like you have an answer to because you are so simplistic that you don't have the capability of looking outside of yourself and have the ability to be like, yeah, you got me there. I don't have an answer, because that would have such a negative effect on your own personal view of yourself that I don't think that you can handle saying, yeah, man, you got me, you won. No thanks. Okay, no problem, Yo. So welcome in. I hope you're doing well. I hope that you're chilling and relaxing. Are you gonna be back to streaming soon? You brought up overseas birth rate. Check the history. Yeah, like nobody else is talking about overseas birth rate.
I'm gonna leave too. That's what she just said. Bitch, this is your kid, bro. And they did it because they wanted you to get better. I hate these people so bad.
And that is what estrangement tries to do. It tries to shame you into believing that because you're not a parent anymore.
That's not what estrangement does. I can, as a person who's estranged from both of their parents, when a child estranges from their parent, the only motivation of that child is literally to get away from an abusive situation that they feel is never going to change and to protect themselves. It's like one of the first choices that is strictly self-focused and self-realizing and actualizing, and a personal choice that they are making for themselves over the benefits of other people. And it's an extremely difficult choice to make, but it can actually be a life-saving choice to do this. Like, that's why I made the choice. And to say that the adult parent here being like, the kid is doing it to hurt me, it's says so much about this person. Which I brought up. No, you brought it up because you don't have an answer to my question, Toy. You don't have an answer to my question. That's why you brought it up, and I'm not reading the rest of what you said.
You start believing it.
We finally kind of finished unpacking. Nice. The wedding is behind us now, so that's done. I am finishing up my computer setup, green screen and stuff, and it's working. So yeah, maybe we'll go back to streaming at some point. I hope so. I'd like to see you. I'd like to see you back. Even if you don't come back, maybe we can game sometime or whatever. I'm glad that you're settling in and stuff like that. Obviously, no rush. Whenever you're ready, I'll be there. But yeah, even if you just want to chill and game sometime and talk on Discord, I know I'm not very good at communicating and stuff like that. But yeah, totally. Feel free to reach out. I'm glad that you guys are settling in and stuff. Did you have a good time at your wedding? Obviously, I hope so. But I just kind of want to know about it. Toy says, so therefore it would be logical. No, it wouldn't, Toy. It doesn't. It just flows for you because you like your own ideas and you don't have a bigger concept to fall back on to answer my question. So you constantly have to be reverting back to your talking points as if they are logical and make sense. Because for you, based upon the premise that you want to argue, that's where it makes sense and that's where you feel most comfortable. But I don't think that you've ever explored the question in such a grand scale as to what you were the one that, you guys were the ones that brought this up in the first place, and we're still arguing about it later. And you still have not answered my question on a global scale. To reiterate it once again, what would be the benefit of all women who can have children having children for a society as a whole? Not on an individual basis, but as a society on a whole. And so far, you have not answered that. You're focusing on Africa and third world countries immigrating to the United States to uproot, but that's two fucking countries. That's not the entire world. unless your world for you is so small and so minuscule that you're incapable of conceptualizing literally the rest of the fucking globe, it does not track the way that you think it does. And it feels like your ego is just not letting you understand where I'm coming from, and you're not interested in understanding where this question is being posed from, despite the fact that it's been explained ad nauseum at this point. Neosa, good sister. Neosa says, yes, it was lovely. Oh, that's good. Everyone had a good time. And my sister, who was officiating, was just so damn good. She managed to make me cry during the ceremony. Oh, did you guys get a video of it? Like, I'm not asking to see it, but that's so cute. Oh, I'm so congratulations. Yay, I'm so happy for you guys. That's so cute. That's so cute. You had your sister officiate and stuff. I love that. Oh, okay, Toy. We're gonna move on from this topic because I don't think that we're ever gonna find the middle ground here.
And what I want to say about that part in particular is I would like you to think about this. If identity is one of the things that you're struggling with, I would like you to remember that you were something before you were a parent. Yeah. None of us were born being parents.
Time to wind down my day. Take care and be well.
Sure
thank you, Axel. Thank you for the lurk. I hope you have a good day. I hope it cools off for you at some point.
And right now, just because you can't
Mayori says to Toy, it's only your estimation third world rates are too high while ignoring the low survivability rate there. Yeah, like
you have to find other things to
again,
do.
It's just like focusing on micros when we're talking about the macros because they can't handle or have an answer.
No, you don't stay stuck.
The macro,
you take
but we're gonna
the
move on from
criticism and you change for your child. You don't have to stay. You don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to do that, dude.
Nope, you don't.
Candy,
you can totally grow as a
5
person.
or 10 more minutes.
The estrangement situation happens. A lot of you are going to identify with me on this. We're going to talk about that begging phase. This was a big one for me. Huge.
The hollow begging.
The begging can look all kinds of different ways. The texting, the phone calling, the emailing, the drive-bys, the trying to reach.
So I understand you want to keep on trying to argue your point, but I've expressed why we're moving on from this now. So you can change the topic if you want to, but we're moving forward from this because I don't feel like you're able to engage in an equal and fair manner. So we're going to move forward.
I'm not saying that you
I think you're a little bit too heated, so we're going to take a chill
and
change topic.
Shame anyone. To be honest, I'm actually a little ashamed of myself.
If you need to beg for someone to interact with you, maybe just don't. Yeah. But for some people, like this is where my empathy comes in, or my, at least I don't want to say empathy, but my understanding is for some people, that's literally how they had to grow up. They had to beg their parents for attention, and that's how they learned to like get their needs met, was through this begging method. And then they just grew up with thinking that that's the way in which it's appropriate to interact with people. So while I have some understanding that that might be where they develop these behaviors, that doesn't necessarily mean that as an adult, that's something that they should carry on, especially when they become aware of it. Okay, you want to talk into the void, Groiper, you're more than welcome to do so.
I have friends that every single night, that's what they do at the end of the day. They erase everything. I keep everything.
Who are you friends with? What is your husband wiping his phone every night? You need to send that phone to the police.
Yeah, what the heck?
Just to kind of go
I just get rid of like my phones, and that's how I wipe things when I upgrade, because I don't keep my phones. But like I don't wipe everything every night. That's insane.
Just what it looked like for me, and to be honest, I'm a little bit ashamed of myself and embarrassed. We're talking hundreds.
We're moving on, Toy. You seem a little bit upset, okay? I understand that you're very, very frustrated that I wouldn't cave to your expectations in terms of the debate and change it to what you wanted to talk about versus what I wanted to talk about. So we're just gonna move forward, okay?
Here we are. We're here. You knew we were coming, Candy.
Mayori says, LOL, I only wipe devices when selling it. Yeah, like I wipe, okay. I wipe devices in one of two situations. Actually, I only wipe devices in one situation. It's when I upgrade my phone, essentially. When I'm gonna get rid of a product, that's the only time that I wipe it, right? Like, if selling it would be getting rid of it. So yeah, Mayori, you got it right. Like, but you don't like wipe it when you're gonna throw it out? What if you're gonna throw it out? You don't wipe it then?
Oh, I know. We're just here to watch.
LOL, I was referring to the video. Strange how somehow it got into others didn't. Yeah. I think that they're just a little bit upset that they didn't win the debate because they couldn't even argue in good faith on the topic that was the premise in which we were debating, and now they're like so stuck on it because they can't handle losing. Mary says, I deconstruct them. Parts are parts to me. Oh, that's interesting. I have no idea how to do that, so I just try to wipe it as best as I can. I remember learning from my auntie. I don't know if this is actually effective, but she would literally drill through her old computer or laptop and stuff like that, her old devices or any sort of like hard drives and stuff like that when she was getting rid of them. I'm like, all right, fair enough. Good to know. Maybe that's how you do it. That's definitely a way of deconstructing. It's just not deconstructing for future use.
All kinds of bad things, all the texting, the phone calling, the emailing, the whatever you call it. I am embarrassed. Hundreds of emails.
Yeah, this is the kind of behavior that I was subjected to from one of my parents. And I made the mistake sometimes of allowing them to have access to certain aspects of my life. And one instance in particular was I gave them access to like a portion of my social media pages for my other job. And on that, not only did they decide to insult my work in front of all of my customer base that I had there, they got their friends in on it too, essentially leaving publicly bad reviews. And then later, when I revoked their access to my page and my access to my social media, they would cry to me about the fact that they no longer had access, as if they didn't understand what they were doing was wrong. And it's just like, I don't know how to explain to another adult that their behavior is inappropriate when they should know this, especially if when they're subjected to the same thing, they wouldn't like it. But there's just such a lack of reflection upon their impact on other people that they don't see other people as like human beings. It's crazy. Whoa, that's unhinged. Yeah, I know. And that's not even the worst of it, but it's just like, this was when I became estranged to them. And I didn't even tell them about my social media. They just stalked me in order to find it. They stalked me in order to find it. Like I have like a different name on social media, and I don't know how they found me, but they did somehow. I'm guessing I maybe through the connections that emails make or something like that. Like, I don't know, maybe a friend told them or who knows. But yeah, they found it. And the only reason why I found out that they were on my page at all was because they behaved that way. So it's just like, okay, bam, like done. Like, you do not get access to me to continue to be cruel, rude, and insulting towards like literally my financial like revenue, essentially. That's crazy.
So you were harassing them.
A little embarrassed of some of the things that I said in them too.
Bitch, you were harassing them because you felt entitled to them because your identity connection to your child is
they feel entitled. They have a sense of ownership over them also.
You're a person before you were a parent. Yeah, you are. And that, you know what?
And you know what? You're still a person when you were a parent, and it's actually beneficial to remember this when you are parenting your child, because you're not just like supposed to be a parent to your child. Like, a part of being a parent to your child is being a role model. So ensuring that you maintain your individuality from your child not only helps them maintain their own individuality, it shows them that it is okay to be your own person separate from your kid. But you see this parent and the way that she's been talking about this entire situation, she's like, oh, I was a person before I was a parent. It's just like, you're still a parent. You're still a person even when you are a fucking parent. Right? You may just give up some aspects of freedom and, like, you know, maybe hobbies that you used to have when you became a parent because you have to attention focus on your child that doesn't allow you to do everything that you used to do. But maintaining your individuality while still being a parent is kind of an important aspect of being a healthy, well-adapted parent.
I bet you that's hard for parents. It's got to be hard. Letting go of the hierarchy title of
we're going to speed this up, and then we'll do...
Because that, especially if you're somebody that's like egotistical or like Candy or whatever the...
Or how do we feel? Do we want to do Elden Ring or do we want to finish this? What say you, chat? What say you? Elden Ring or this? Elden Ring, I think... let's finish it off. Okay, we'll finish it off.
Like, you're really looking down on your kid, and then you never stop. You never do.
Not long to go? Okay, sounds good.
Or maybe turn into yourself. I think a very simple thing is, like, you know, when your kid turns like 20 or 25, like, fucking kick it with them. Be yourself. Like, if you would normally drink a beer on the back patio, like, be yourself. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so odd. They won't let go of the I'm the parent and you're the child kind of thing, even when they're like 20, 25, 30. And like, kids have every right to walk away after that. And I find this so odd. But her saying that she sent hundreds of emails. Notice that she admits to the embarrassment of sending the emails, but she doesn't admit to the entitlement and the ownership that she felt over the child. Most people.
Or the impact that it could have on the child to be constantly bombarded with this unwanted attention when they're just trying to get some mental peace and space away from the person that was so damaging to them that they literally had to walk away from their own parent.
People would not send hundreds of messages unless they felt entitled to do so, you know? And I bet you her types of messages were not, you know, mean or honest. It was probably, I love you. I can't believe you're doing this to me and I love you. She probably was sending an email on Monday, I love you. An email on Tuesday, I love you. An email Wednesday,
just a simple, hey, what's going on? Just trying to like tap the glass.
And this is not love. This is harassment.
I just mentioned this one memory to him, this really, really good memory.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll somehow.
Remember that time when, don't you remember when it was so good for me? It must have been good for you too, because it was good for me. So therefore it must have been good for you.
I'll trigger a good memory in him and he'll be like, hey, yeah, my mom's right. Yeah, just let me respond to this one. Yeah, no.
Manipulation through care.
And I'm sure some of you had too. And the thing is, this phase can damage so much of you. A lot of parents can't get out of it. I want you to understand that I don't want you to be ashamed of it. I just want you to know that it's a pretty natural part of the estrangement for a lot of parents. But what this begging will do is it will wear your dignity down. And that's the honest truth. It'll wear your nervous system down. It'll wear your hope down. It'll keep that nervous system so lit up that you're going to keep checking and keep checking and keep checking because you want to stay there right where you're at. You're waiting, you're watching, hoping, trying again, hurting again.
Just
and
to get a response, just to know that she has a little bit of control. You guys can hear this,
Yep.
right? She hasn't changed. Now she's just gone to therapy and learned a bunch of therapy speak and wrapped it up in the manipulation. Like
Yep.
that's even, this is what people mean when they say that somebody using like therapy speak in like casual conversations or conflict like comes off as a red flag, because it fucking is, dude.
Yeah, that's something to look out for people who have been abusive in the past, who go to therapy. Sometimes they just go to therapy to feel better about themselves rather than learning how to be a better, a more well-adjusted, healthier individual. They will often weaponize therapy talk to manipulate you or be dismissive towards you, or basically just to make themselves feel better in the moment and situation and just like completely negate what you're going through and what you have to say.
You should be asking
It is
questions, not
insidious,
making
especially when they call you crazy. It's just like, or that you need therapy, or there's something wrong with you, or they pretend like you're the problem and that they're healthier than you are. And it's just kind of like, okay, I didn't realize this was a competition. Like, I'm literally just trying to have a conversation with you, and you can't even handle like me confronting you about like a situation that has caused harm to me based upon your actions. It doesn't really feel like you've grown as a person if you're unwilling to accept any level of criticism still. Mayori says, LOL, I debate they have dignity in the first place if they were begging for the attention of someone who just wants you to leave them alone. Yeah, I agree. I think that some people like grow up, like they may hear the words dignity, they may be able to read the definition, but they don't necessarily understand what it means to have like personal dignity. Like they might not have ever grown up with their own individual dignity, and then they grew up to people without dignity, and so they carry on that way as adults. And it's just like, when you go to therapy, these are the things that you should be trying to learn. Like if you're like that, like I think that when people think go to therapy, they're just like, oh, I just have to go and that's it. It's just like, no, you actually have to like learn the things that you need to learn and learn the things that you don't understand, which can be a really difficult process because if you don't know what you don't know, how are you supposed to know you're supposed to learn it? So I have some like understanding for that, but like at the same time, it's just like,
message is a message.
It doesn't matter.
I would encourage you that if your adult child, now I'm never going to be telling you to do anything in here. I'm just going to offer
this is still her harassing him
for things that worked for me or didn't work for me. But if you
this entire podcast of hers is a way to harass her kid.
I want you to consider doing exactly that, because this begging phase, it matters. It can hurt you in so many ways. And some of that, again, can hurt you so badly that you lose sight of everything.
Again, all about them. No reflection on how the behavior impacts their target. No consideration for how like it may affect the other person. It's all about me. Always about them. Always about how it impacts them, what it represents to them, what it means to them, what it says about them, and how it makes them feel.
mom, and her and I worked really hard together because she couldn't go a day, not day. And I tell you, I've been there, so I can identify with her one day without trying to reach out. And here's the other thing. In the beginning of my begging stages, when this first started,
it's always been her whole spiel so far. Very little about the actual kid and how they feel.
Oh, hell no. There is absolutely no way I would ever stop doing that.
Because this is love, and I'm your mom. This is what love is. No, this is manipulation through care.
Yeah.
It's kind of predatory in a way because they want something from you. They want to control you, but they're wrapping.
They want your attention. They want your time. They want that validation.
I'm your mom. This is what love is. And then what do these people do? They go out into the world and they seek out abusive people because they're taught that harassment and abuse is love. And also, would you guys not agree that after her sending the hundreds of emails to the child that said, "Please stop contacting me," that her creating this podcast is a further form of harassment?
Yep.
This is like, I don't stop talking just because you tell me to. That's why he don't like you. That's why a lot of people probably.
I wouldn't have a problem with this mom having this podcast if she was actually able to demonstrate some level of growth. The only credit that I'll give this mom is the fact that she's trying to help other parents actually stop contacting their kid through whatever means this is just strictly focusing on the benefits that it has towards the kids. Even no matter what the method is, so long as they stop, even if they're not capable of recognizing their child and the humanity within their own kid and the individuality of their own kid, so long as they stop, fine. You'll get that credit, but believe me, it's just crumbs.
We don't like you because you don't listen.
And one of these days, you're going to recognize that this is all going to fade away, and we're going to go back to the
LOL, I'd be less charitable. Yeah, I mean, crumbs.
You can't stop me.
Happens
I'm in your space.
You get to a point where every unanswered message or every answered message with something not nice or downright evil is hurtful to you.
Evil? What? Why do I have a feeling that what she classifies as downright evil is being confronted with the things that she did to her son that her son found abusive? Because a lot of abusive people, when you confront them with their poor behavior, they will turn it around on you and be like, "You're the abusive one. You're being verbally abusive to me by explaining and telling me the things that I did to hurt you. You're being abusive to me by telling me that time that I told you you were a bleeping bleepity bleep bleep. You're being abusive by using that language towards me." That kind of behavior. I don't think that her child was ever evil towards them. Even if the child had an outburst and was like, "You're a horrible," was literally verbally abusive back to them finally after years and years of taking all of the crap and being like, "You are an awful person to me. You are a terrible person to me. I don't like you. I don't want to be around you." Essentially trying to get the person to go away because they've reached that breaking point. That is not evil. That is a person that is in such high levels of distress that they have lost the capability of just behaving in a way that they feel comfortable with. Remember, she was talking about sending literally hundreds of unsolicited, unwanted contact emails to her son. And I'm guessing after a certain point, it's like being stabbed with an ice pick 100 fucking times by your parent when they do shit like this. And when the son finally came back and stabbed her once, she's like, "This person is evil. They're so abusive. They're so mean." And it's just like, no, man. They're just finally giving you a small taste of what you've given them for so freaking long. And it doesn't matter because they have this tactic of being so kind and being like, "Well, I was just sending you hello messages." It's like, no, you were not. That is your perspective of the way that you were behaving because it makes you feel better. But regardless of how you did it, regardless of how sweet and kind and, how loving you think you were still making unwanted contact with your estranged child who expressed to you that they do not want anything to do with you. It's crazy to me the way that they spin this. Evil? Seriously? Get a grip. That's crazy.
And I do remember telling him there's absolutely no way I will ever stop. You can tell me to stop if you want to.
Kids being evil, literally children acting what people would say is evil, are generally only ignorant. There's very, very few psychopaths born. Yeah, that's the thing is what exactly could the son have said via email that was quote unquote evil? "I hope you die." Why is that evil? Maybe he's hoping that you die so that you stop contacting him unwantedly and driving his mental health so far into the ground that he feels like he doesn't feel comfortable being on this planet anymore, which I would personally say is much more evil a behavior to do than telling somebody, please, like, I dislike you so much that I am waiting for you not to be on this planet.
But I'm not stopping, because you know what that'll mean is that I don't care anymore. It means I don't love you anymore. It means I gave up, and I'm never, ever, ever going to get to a point when we reunify or reconciliate.
You'll message again.
Whatever word you want to use. When we get back together, you're never going to be able to say that my mom gave up on me.
Yo, you lady, like
all about their own identity
Does she have
too.
a job? Because like, can you imagine working with a person like this? This is just crazy to me. Also, sorry guys, sometimes I'm a bit harsh on these things because some of you guys have parents like this. The dude that estranged her could be watching this, you know? And hey, buddy, f your mom for real. This is crazy behavior. This is crazy.
It was worth noting. It would be a second son whose mental health collapsed. Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, literally no introspection. Immediately labels the estranged child who responds finally after literally hundreds of messages as evil. Like, come the heck on, lady. Like, get a bloody grip. Are you kidding me? You want people to believe that you've changed just because you've changed some of your habits, but not changed your underlying behavior, beliefs, and tendencies? That doesn't mean that you've changed as a person. It just means that you're trying different tactics to get reconnected with your son, because I bet you she didn't stop contacting her son because of like, oh, it affects my dignity and all this other stuff. Because as she mentioned, she's still talking about the potential of reconnecting with her son. That is ultimately her goal. She's just looking at this as a different method of potentially reconnecting with her son, despite not doing any of the mental health work that she needs to do to genuinely become a better, well-adjusted person. Crazy sauce. Like, that's one of the reasons why I never reconnected with my parents, is because I could tell based upon the way that they were contacting me and interacting with me through any avenue that they could get access to me, that they had not changed as a person. And it's just kind of like, and when you start to learn about these things and you start to see them, like it becomes so transparent who these kinds of people are, and it's just so infuriating.
And you know what else is really wild? You know what's really, really wild? I've done a lot of videos on estrangement. I've talked to a lot of people that are estranged. I'm cool with my parents. I had a brief period of estrangement, but like, you know, sometimes estrangement is temporary. It could be 6 months.
And there's nothing wrong with that either.
For a while, or just been like, I need to get away. I need to reset my nervous system. I need to know who I am. Because your parents sometimes can really control your nervous system. So even getting away for a little bit is really good for you. Sometimes estrangement is 6 months, a year.
Estranged parents also don't like that because they know that they're losing control of it, right?
2 years. Somebody in chat said 10 years, then mend it. I don't think you can mend after this podcast. She has just chosen her fate. No. And she's going to intentionally turn a blind eye to what she did by creating this show forever. I actually think going live and doing this after the estrangement is this is the ultimate nuke. Like, she's gonna act like it's like still his choice and she's the victim. And honestly, dude, if I were him, I would never talk to her again. Ever, 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 ever. You know, sometimes kids in abusive homes, they can become very avoidant. Are any of you guys avoidant? I'm a bit avoidant sometimes at times. I'm avoidant for things I can avoid, but if I have to face it, I'll get in there and I'll do it. But people that are avoidant, and some of you will know this if you date avoidant people, their greatest art sometimes is showing how much they don't care about something. Like, they sometimes, when they walk away from something, their brain really is turned off. It really is disconnected. But sometimes they take a lot of pride in that artwork. I can walk away from this thing that once meant a lot to me. And that is their story. That is their art. That is their work. And so I don't think that she believes her child has it in them. But I fully believe that after a parent does something like this, a child could choose to never, ever, ever speak to you again.
I avoid my stepdad. I quite like my mom. Oh, I'm glad you like your mom, Mary. You avoid your stepdad. By the way, I do consider being estranged from like step parents as being estranged from a parent. So like, yeah, that's totally fine. She's smart, which is becoming rare. Fair enough. Yeah, like I'm glad that you have a good relationship with her. It's nice to have a parent that you can admire like that. She's a smarty pants. Like, she's smart. What is a sign of her intelligence that you admire most?
And in 10 years, 15 years, 20, she still doesn't believe this is real, you know, and she doesn't see the damage that she's doing.
I am speaking directly to you. If you are the one doing all of the begging, consider trying not doing that. I think I lost my train of thought to you on that parent that I was working with. Anyway, let's go back to her. She got to a point where she messaged me and she went a whole day without texting her child. And she told me that it made her so sad and it made her worry that her child wouldn't think that she was still wanting them back in her life. And
shut the fuck up. The texting and harassing the children is a control mechanism. It makes the parent feel like they're in control. They're holding on to that identity of, I'm a good parent, I'm kind, I love them, I'm reaching out. And then when they decide not to text, they lose their control.
Probably that she just doesn't instantly believe anything she's told. That's good. She double checks everything and usually comes up with the right answer. That's good. That's a good feature to have. I try to do that. Sometimes I don't have the time, but like, yeah, I try to adhere to that also. I think that that's a great attribute. It's something that I'm personally trying to work on and improve. Yeah, 100%. Being able to like have your own individual like opinion and like not just be relying on other people's because that's what you're doing when you just adopt something that you hear at face value and you don't look into it deeper and like try to reinforce like the information that you're hearing and verify and all this other stuff. Yeah, that's good. I like that too.
Mechanism, and they have to sit in the pile of shit that they created over the last 18 years. And it's uncomfortable. They've been turning a blind eye to it. And they're like, look how fun it is playing in the shit with me. And then they get left in the shit by themselves and they don't understand. They're like, well, how did all this shit get here? And it's like, you did it. You shit all over the place and you just left it there. That's what you did. And you're acting like it doesn't smell like shit in here.
If you are doing something, literally anything in your life, really,
funny sometimes.
that doesn't make you feel good and you keep doing it, it's kind of on you. And I'm saying that with love and respect. If you trying to contact your kid does nothing but make you feel bad, I would encourage you to stop doing it.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, I'm done. You and the
Bars,
shit
honestly, yeah.
can have each other. Wait, yeah,
all right. Oh my gosh, what time is it? Let's see. How long have I been going for? We might skip Elden today. It is so freaking hot. 3 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, we'll do a little Elden. Thank you so much for everybody who stuck by for our videos and stuff. We're gonna switch over to Elden Ring and be an Elden Lord. I'm gonna be an Elden Lord now. Thank you so much, everybody who decides to stick around for the news and stuff. If you'd like to head out, I completely understand, but thank you for everybody who decided to hang out. We're gonna change to Elden Ring quickly. Just give me a second. Elden Ring. Let's see if I can find some. Oh. Let's see, is this playing? Oh, I guess I have to press play. There we go. Alright. I might skip Elden Ring, lol. A mate started streaming like 20 minutes ago and I wanted to stick around and finish the crazy mom video. No problem. Thank you so much for stopping by. Alright, feel free to drop their name in chat because once I'm done streaming, I might pop over and check them out. But thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate your company as always, and I hope that you and your friend, your streaming friend, have a good time. Have a good one. Bye. Thank you. All right. We doing some Elden. Let me lower the volume on this because it's a little loud. Oh wait, wrong way. There we go. Okay, we're gonna do a short bit of Eldening. We're gonna see if we can beat a boss. I'm just gonna load it in right now. Just give me a second. Let's see, let's find it. Where's my Steam? There it is. All right. Hope everybody's having a good day. Everybody who's sticking around, thank you so much. If not, no worries. I'm gonna make myself a snack while Elden loads in. Oh, there we go. All right. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Okay, we're gonna load this in, and then we're gonna explore Instant Elden Ring. Let's see if we can make some progress. I'm hoping that we can take down this one boss at least. We'll see how it goes, but I'll be right back. I'm just gonna make my snack. Hopefully it loads in, no problem. Initializing. There we go. Oh, it's so hot in here. All right, let's go. Load it in properly. Okay, perfect. You're curious, I'm eating Nutella on bread. Nothing fancy. I found this guy finally. I'm like, I wonder if this guy is actually in the game, and I finally found him. I have no idea how to get up him, but I found him. Do I have any runes? So we're gonna be headed up here in just a second, but I learned how to reorganize my inventory, I think. Okay. What we want is, uh-oh. How come I can't equip the fire pot? Maybe I have to do it in this one? Yes. Oh, maybe I had it on the other one. There it is. We're gonna try and use a fire pot for the first time. See how that goes? And then we just need to do one more thing. Excuse me. Because if you're unaware, you can get this blessing from this chick, and apparently it lowers your HP. So I don't know if I just lowered my HP or if this makes it better, but either way, we're gonna find out. Okay. Strength and armament, I don't think we have anything that we can strengthen with. Okay, perfect. We're gonna go over here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Ah, god damn it. Ah! The controls. I'm so bad at it. There we go. Remove all markers. Yes. Okay. Yes, remove all markers. I don't know why it doesn't remove the markers. Remove all markers. Yes. Alright, whatever. We're gonna go... Oh, wrong button. We're gonna go over here. Yes. And we're gonna fight a new boss. See how long it'll take us to get this guy if we can do it at all. Okay. I don't remember how we get into this guy. Oh yeah, that's right. We've got these guys first. We can skip this one. Are we at the right cave? I think so. Oh, that's right. We don't have to fight anybody. We can just go straight in. Because I already did this dungeon battling all the other guys to open the door. Oh, excuse me. Okay, let's go. Oh! Yes! Got fire pot. How do I throw? No, I want to throw my fire pot. No, how do I do that? Oh gosh. How do I throw the fire pot? How do I throw the fire pot? Okay, that's not what I want to do. No, I want to roll. No, I want to roll. No, how do I throw the fire pot? How do I throw the fire pot? Yes! Okay, good. Okay, well, now we're out of fire pots and we're almost dead. Oh, we died. Oh, to be an Elden Lord, to be the Tarnished. Okay, we can do this. We can do this, chat. Okay, well, we're out of fire pots. That was kind of wasted. Maybe we should... I'll try to make lesser items to practice throwing them because I absolutely bungled that one. Okay, we got our health. Let's see. Let's do our inventory right quick. Items, crafting. No, we don't want that. Inventory. Let's see what we got for weapons. Do we have any weapons upgrades? That's not weapons. Okay, what is this stuff? Grants affinities and skills to armament. Grants affinities. Okay, well, that doesn't help. FPS cost. Sacred. I don't know what it does, though. That's the thing. It's just not enough information. This is our current weapon. This is our other current weapon. Is there anything better? Causes blood loss, buildup, 45. That one's pretty good. Can't use this one. Don't have enough. 44 plus 24. Causes blood loss to 55. Okay, let's see. What's our alternative? This one? Okay, we're gonna unequip this one. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, maybe we have to do equipment. What? Okay, this one we don't want. There we go. This is the one we want to try. Wait, what? Yep. Heavy load. Okay, fair enough. That's fine. We'll survive it. Okay. Boop, boop. Okay, let's go. Let's see if we can do this. I feel like we're gonna die pretty quickly, but we'll give it a couple more tries and then we'll hop off. Okay, let's see. If we need to, we'll go get the stuff for a fire pot. Okay. Hi, kitty. No! How did you smash us so fast? Oh my goodness. Okay, get your bum. Get your bum. No! Help. Like, these guys are so good. Okay, good. No, keep going. No, how? How are you getting us so well? We gotta wait for him to do the fire thing. That's right. Okay, are you gonna do the fire thing? No, you're charging. Oh, thanks. Thanks. Oh, no. We haven't gotten a singular hit on this guy. Maybe I'm using the wrong weapon on him. I don't know. We'll see. We'll try this a couple more times. See how it goes. Okay. We're gonna switch our weapon now. Maybe this one will work better. I feel like Elden is mocking us with these characters. Thanks. Okay, this way. Down this way. At least it's not a long way back to the dungeon. Sometimes it takes a really long time to get back to the dungeon. Okay, let's see. Elden Lord. Maybe we get a couple of fire pots going, and then we can just toss a couple of fire pots and do a little bit of melee damage, because I don't think that we're fast enough. There we go. That's what I meant to do. Okay, come on. Yep, come on. Give it a shot. Yep. That's right. That's right. You're gonna try and attack us again. Attack us again. Attack us again. Attack us again. Oh, almost got us. No. Got a little bit. No, we need a different weapon, I think. I think we need a different weapon to get this guy. Oh, damn. I accidentally used 2 pots rather than just 1. Ah! Okay, can we get him? Okay. Oh, mean kitty, bad kitty. No, no, no. Yes, we got away. We got away. All my fingers slipping off the Joy-Con. Yep, that's right. Get him. Okay, go, go. No, okay, we gotta be more patient. I feel like I'm just panic playing. Okay, no, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Oh, we're dead. Well, we made some progress at least. All right, let's see. Whew, hot and sweaty. Hands are sweaty. Okay, we're gonna give it two. I don't know why. We're gonna give it 2 more tries. We'll give it 2 more tries. Maybe this weapon is too heavy. I don't know. I have so much stuff in my inventory that I just don't know what to do with it. I'll look up a tutorial on how to attack this guy, but I think that fire weapons are probably going to be the best bet. What do the messages say? First off, wolf. Dog ahead. But they say this about every single enemy. Okay, lock in. That's right. Let you come to me. Come on, kitty. Come on. Okay, there it goes. Okay, and then it's gonna do its thing. Ah! And then it's gonna do its thing. I thought I locked on! I thought I locked on to you! I thought I locked on to you! Oh my gosh. Drink your potion. Drink your potion. Ugh. I don't know its attack plan and how to get it to, like, when it's safe to attack it. Right? Because it does this, and then it does that, and it's just like, oh, I'm almost dead. I'm gonna die. I haven't had 1 strike on it at all. Okay. So this weapon is pretty good against it. I don't know if I just don't have enough XP. I think what we need to do is... so stupid. We need to get more XP as well as get fire bombs. I think that throwing the fire bombs from a distance is what's going to do it. Because it doesn't necessarily mean, like, you don't necessarily get to take them down on melee all the time. We'll do 1 more and then we'll hop off for the day. Go. I feel like I did better with better like different armaments before. I wonder if my shield will work to like stop the attack from them at all. Nope. Nope. Oh, we're doing some damage. We're doing some damage. No, no, run, 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 run. Okay, lock in on him. Lock in on him. Lock in on Kitty. Lock in on Evil Kitty. Use your shield. There we go. We got him good, but he's gonna get us. Oh, he killed us. We got 50%. I think if we do the fire stuff, it'll definitely help us. Good gracious. Okay, let's see what's going on. Just give me a second. Oh, that was frustrating. All right. Okay. Let's do Oldebane. I haven't really hung out in this person's chat, but they seem like they might be chill, so let's give them a raid. I think I said that right. did they hop off? No. Oh, Doban. Oops. Hopefully. Yay! Awesome. Okay, we're gonna go raid Odaban. Thank you so much, everybody, for the lovely stream today. It was tons of fun. I appreciate everybody that stopped by, as usual. We will be back for this Sunday for movie night. We're going to be watching Children of Men. We will start at 7 p.m. and the movie will officially start at 7:30. And during the movie, I will only be chatting in chat to add commentary to the movie. I might not be able to reply to everybody, but I will see your message. You might see me laugh and acknowledge what you do and what you say and stuff like that. But otherwise, I hope to see you then. It is one of my absolute all-time favorite movies. I hope that you have a wonderful day. My name is Wax Philosophical, and I like to wax the philosophical, and I'll see you all later. Bye.